Good. I'll make sure I have my mic on. Whoops. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Monkey of the Morning. That's just the kind of night I've had. Hope you guys are well. Hope everybody's having a wonderful day. I'm the Ranting Monkey. It's Wednesday, hump day. Hope you guys copulate, you know, in- with permission today. And we're here to talk about some, crap that happened over the last couple of hours or days. I'd have been here a little bit sooner, except for two things. One, my spine decided to be my spine, so I went to sleep. And then when I woke up, I would have been here a little sooner. But then I went to Twitter like I do. And this time it was on purpose, getting ready for the show because, I had show things I wanted to talk about over there. So I was refreshing on them and seeing how things had unfolded. And do you guys know who Kelly Cadigan is? Kelly Cadigan is a trans influencer, I guess is the word I'm looking for. There's I don't even know exactly where they got famous, as famous as they are. They were on Twitter, I know. I don't know if they've ever done YouTube. I'm not sure if they did any of the other social media platforms. Apparently, they're on OnlyFans, which I know through my interactions with them today. But I guess Twitter famous. I'm not trying to beat around any bushes here. This isn't anything. I'm honestly having trouble pinning down exactly where they got famous. But anyway, they did it the old school route. They lied. You see, I've told you guys before, and this is true. One of the easiest ways to get internet famous right now is to be a trans person and come out as conservative. And that's what Kelly did. Kelly came out like, I'm a conservative. And then after they built up an audience, they decided to pull the old bait and switch. No, fuck conservatives. And that's where they're at now. And Kelly likes to cause problems. Kelly likes to start fights, then delete all the evidence and play the victim. And that's what happened here. So Kelly makes this post today, and I'd love to show you the entire thing. But as I said, Kelly deletes stuff. I didn't know that. I should have known that. But I should have just guessed, being that they're as duplicitous as they are just from the story I've told you already. But they make this post, and I'll bring it up on the screen. And there's a follow-up that I wasn't able to grab. The only reason I was able to grab is gone. But this is what she says. Calling my vagina a rot pocket won't make your husband any less attracted to it. Making fun of me for needing to dilate won't make you any tighter. And then Kelly goes on in a next post to say that basically cis girls are ugly and all their husbands want to bang her instead. Now, I wasn't able to capture that one, unfortunately, but I promise you it was there. I wouldn't lie to you guys. And so I had to respond to this. And I'll show you exactly what I said. I'm not ashamed of what I said here. I said, calling it a vagina won't make it any less an open wound constantly trying to heal itself, which is why you have to dilate it. A constant reminder that it's not a vagina. She called me a misogynist for this. And you can see this right down right here. She deleted another one where she said to me, this sounds like something, how'd she say? This sounds like something a misogynist would say, like men who call cis women's vaginas gashes. And I was like, all right, what exactly is misogynistic about what I said? And that's when she deleted everything. It's like, oh, I guess we're done with this conversation. Except for then I went to Kelly's page, her feed, and read. And what she likes to do is delete shit and then start a new conversation. And this next one I can't show you because it's deleted. And I should have known, but she deletes it, and I can show you that here. It's this one here where I said, I seem to have touched a nerve. You can see that's Kelly Cadigan, deleted by the tweet author. And this is one where she goes in this really long post about how wrong it is to call it an open wound. She says it's more like a piercing. You shouldn't call it an open wound. And then she says this, and even if it is, it's not a bad thing, because I tell you, cis men love it. They're the ones who pay for my OnlyFans and pay for my lifestyle. It's all the cis. It's not gay men doing it. It's all the cis men doing it. Okay. Doesn't change what I said, though. And as you can see, that one's deleted as well. And I wake up and I see that one's deleted. I'm like, all right, what'd she replace that one with? Oh, joy. Oh, joy. It's a video. It's a fucking video. And we're going to watch it here in just a second. But first, I need to take a look at something here. I don't know if Jack will be along tonight. I woke him. I don't want to say I woke him up. What's the word I want to say here? It's the middle of the night, and sometimes Jack sleeps. That's what I want to say. So either he's eating right now or he's sleeping, which he should be. So I decided to watch this video, and which I shouldn't have. This is why I was as late as I was setting up the show tonight. Not that I'm ever late, guys, as late in the day as I was. I always got to say that for some people here. But Miss Kelly here wants to let us know how horrible it is. She says, I don't think it's appropriate to refer to my neo-vagina as an open wound. Now, as the person who started this, because I was one of the first people to respond, and I was the only one who called it an open wound at the time, I want to address what she says here. I want to give her say, since I've told you all this, and be fair about it, right? So let's examine Kelly's. Oh shit, what internet am I on? Hang on one second, guys. We're gonna have a brief interruption because I'm on the wrong internet. Be right back. Am I back yet? Monkey has time blindness. Monkey has crippled blindness, crippled time blindness. Anyhow, so here's Kelly. And she's going to explain to us in video form now have the internet switched before the show. All right. Hello. What a wonderful word. Hello. Hi, guys. Sorry about that. The internet decided to reconnect itself a second time. I'm not sure why. Frankly, says, still looks like a man to me. Look, Kelly tries. I still think man face myself, but I've seen manly looking women before. I can't say that looks like a man. I mean, if I saw that walking down the street, I'd think, there's a very average looking chick with ridiculously large boobs. Anyway, so here is remember when this person was in the band Hanson? Yes, I do. That's messed up. All right, anyway, let's give Kelly her say.
So a lot of people on Twitter have been making fun of me.
All right. I wasn't making fun of you. I was pointing out the truth. And I did it because you were being a dick. Let's be honest about what started all this. Because in that tweet that I showed you guys that she deleted, she says, calling my vagina a rot pocket. Nobody had done that. Nobody had done. I couldn't find, and granted, she deletes a lot of shit, but I couldn't find any evidence of somebody doing that to her anytime around where she just threw this out there to start a fight. Because that's who Kelly is. Because she knows she can put up a video like this and be, people were making fun of me. You started it, twat. If you'd been nice, I wouldn't have been mean. I would have passed right over the shit. If you had said calling it that is wrong, it's not very nice, I'd be like, yeah, it's probably not very nice. But instead, you had to go, it won't make your vagina any tighter. It won't make your men want to bang you more than they want to bang me. If you hadn't been being a bitch about it, I'd have left you alone. And even then, I didn't make fun of you. I just pointed out the biological reality of things. Anyhow, they've been making fun of me.
For having bottom surgery. But
I didn't make fun of you for having bottom surgery. I just pointed out what your bottom surgery was. I made fun of you for being a dick. I just want that to be on the record. I don't want there to be any mistake about why I answered. It's because you're a dick. That's it.
by basically telling me I have an open wound between my legs.
You do.
I think it's pretty disgusting.
It's not.
Whether it's factually accurate or not.
I think it's disgusting whether it's factually accurate or not. Well, is it factually accurate? Saying shit stinks is factually accurate and it's disgusting. Still true. It's not insulting. It's just honest. But hey,
to say that what I have between my legs is an open wound.
It is.
Especially when you have the context of everything it is to be a transgender person. And
especially when you have the context of everything it is to be a transgender person in this society. I got ahead of her. I'm reading the top. You started this shit. I am not going to let that go. I'm not going to let you get away with that shit. You started it. You decided to be a bitch. And now you're mad that people pointed out reality. There's actually a reason that they have to do dilation. Women like Kelly here have to take things and shove them up themselves, or it'll close up. And if they don't do it enough, they have to have the surgery again to wait for it, open it. So calling it an open wound is true, because the body is trying to fix that. The body is trying to close that up because it's not supposed to be there.
in this society.
But we got to have that sympathy, right? Got to have that sympathy. Hey, do you know what it's like to be a trans person in this society? Yeah. I guess it's really hard here in America where you're put on a pedestal and people can literally get kicked off platforms for saying the truth about you. Yeah, it must be really fucking hard. Must be real hard. Not like, I don't know, let's say where they'll throw you off buildings for it. Where they'll actually murder you for it. Yeah. Oh, I know the answer to that. That happens here in America too. Have you seen how many trans people have been killed compared to other people? Or in general? Or what are you talking about there? We see this argument all the time. The crimes against the trans people are on the rise. Yeah? How many? 80. 80. You can actually quantify it. All right. Well, I guess it is a big problem.
I think it's pretty gross to throw that term around.
It's not gross. It's a medically correct language. It's an open wound.
I like to consider myself a pretty strong, level-headed person.
You're a bitch.
I've been on social media for like the past 3-4 years, and nothing's really gotten to me like this term has.
I am oddly proud of this. They've been on the internet for 3 or 4 years, and nothing has gotten to me like what that fucking monkey said. That damn cartoon monkey just ruined my whole day. I'm sorry, Kelly. I didn't mean to be factually correct.
And I'm kind of scared to even admit this on social media, because the second you start talking about something and you admit that it makes you insecure, people are going to start using that against you all the time.
See this? Do you see what she just did there? She just told people to use it against her all the time. Don't do it. If you respond to Kelly, please don't do it. And don't respond to her unless you actually have something to say. But they're setting that up that, oh, people are going to be mean to me now. I know they're going to be mean to me. And you know what you get for the, oh my God, it's so horrible how bad people are to you. Notice she doesn't say anywhere in here so far that she started this whole thing. She started this whole thing by trying to talk down to cis women, to those damn women with biological vaginas. Mine's tighter than yours. Mine is what your man really wants to bang. No mention of that. No mention of why people mess with you.
But I don't care, because I really feel like this video needs to be made.
Oh, please
and people
do tell.
need to hear this.
Okay. I need to hear this.
You know, people compare it to a piercing, right?
Okay. Time out. I need to say this right here, because remember when I showed you that she called me misogynistic? There was one reply to that, and it was from, I'm using air quotes, someone else, because I'm not positive it's not a sock account of Kelly, because they said it's not an open wound, it's more like a piercing. And then in the really long tweet that Kelly put out, Kelly says it's more like a piercing. And did you see what she just said there? Hang on. She said, man, I wish this was on YouTube. People compare it to a piercing, right? Not I've compared it to a piercing, which she absolutely did. But no, other people.
People compare it to a piercing, right? That's their explanation.
That was your explanation.
And if you Google it, a piercing is an open wound.
Whoops. Now, do you see why she said people say it? Because if she admits that she's one of the ones who said it, that's why that tweet had to go away, so she can make this. Because she herself said it's like a piercing. I should have known. I should have known. Anytime I get into arguments with people, I should fucking screenshot the shit out of it. But she absolutely said it. And now, this is why she says at the beginning, whether it's factually true or not, because it's factually true. It's an open wound. It's what it is.
But when I thought about that, I was like, you know, people don't go around calling piercings, like an ear piercing, a wound.
Well, if somebody was comparing their ear piercing to a cis woman's vagina and saying that men would rather bang their tight ear piercing, I probably would. Nobody's pretending that an ear piercing is natural. Nobody's pretending an ear piercing is anything other than an ear piercing. That's why.
Right? Because we know the difference between like falling and scraping your knee really badly, or it like bleeding profusely, and a common ear piercing, right?
Sure. There's all kinds of open wounds you can have. It doesn't change that they're all open wounds. You even said it just a moment ago. She said it's technically correct. And now she's trying to argue that it's not, because, well, then her big whine here, they're being so mean to me by using the correct terminology, just falls flat on its face.
Just like we know the difference between, you know, messing up your knee and creating a wound versus a trans person going in and getting SRS surgery. It feels like you guys go out of your way to use terminology that you know is going to upset people.
Really? You go out of your way. Let's just revisit one more time what started all this. You telling cis women that their vaginas are loose and that their husbands want to bang you. You were going out of your way to upset people. You didn't have to do that. You were being a dick. And now when it comes back on you, when you fling that shit and it all splashes back at you, now it's a big deal. Oh my God, I can't believe you just say things that you know are going to upset me. You said you've been on the internet for a long time. None of this stuff bothers you. Why would anybody think this one would? I mean, in 3 or 4 years, it's the first thing to really get to you. Nobody would know that was going to upset you. Oh shit, I'm thinking more than you do. My bad. And far more than your supporters do.
And that is going to bring someone down and hurt them.
Nah, sweetie, I was just giving you a dose of reality because you were being a dick. That's all.
Because there's a million other things you could call what my surgery was, but you deliberately decide to call it an open wound.
Because as you pointed out, it technically is. I honestly, I don't. This is 2 minutes of just bullshit. And the only real answer is, it is. You're mad because somebody used correct terminology. Could you more tell me that, hey, don't destroy my delusion, right? That's what you're saying. You upset my delusion. Well, go dilate. You'll feel better.
Why?
Because you were a dick.
like, is it just to make me feel like crap? Is it just to make trans people feel like they're less than?
No. I know lots of trans people online. I have spoke to them, and never once have I said that to one before. We've discussed it here, but it's never come up because I've never seen one of them being a fucking twat to cis women and trying to pretend that their man want to bang your nasty little open wound. If you hadn't have been a fucking bitch about it, this wouldn't have happened. This is you. This is you. That's all.
Like I actually don't have an answer for it.
I've given you several.
I don't know what to say anymore. I just think this is really messed up.
Do you see that? It's just really messed up. Well, what's messed up about it? What's messed up about it? And I'm asking seriously, because what bothered you is finding out that it was true. That's what bothered you. Because before you looked it up, you were happy to go out there and say, it's just like a piercing. You said those words. It's more like a piercing. You were okay with that until you looked it up. And then reality splashed you in the fucking face. And that's when it became the most hurtful thing ever. I can't believe somebody would say something like that. Do you just like hurting trans people? I like being a dick to dicks. That's all. Especially dicks who are wrong. If somebody's being a dick and they're wrong, there's a good chance, probably 95% chance, if I see somebody who's being a dick and they're wrong, I'm going to be a dick right back. Absolutely. 95% of the time. And the other 5%, it's usually because I'm busy doing something else. So you're not special because you're trans here. I didn't target you because you're trans. It happened because you were a dick. That's all. Here, I'm going to help you out. All right. Don't be a dick. There you go. There you go. Problem solved. Don't be a dick. There you go. I helped you. That's how much I care. That's how much I care. I want to help you out. How you doing, Alex? Hope you're well, man. Yeah, I logged on and I saw that video and I just started laughing. I hadn't even watched it yet. I just started laughing because everything else had been deleted. I'm like, oh, this is going to be beautiful. Fucking beautiful. And it was. I was not disappointed. I especially love it. Like a movie review, I would give this a 9 out of 10. A 9 out of 10. It could have had a little bit more whining in it. But when you get to the part where she says whether it's true or not, and she hits you in that emotion, like, oh, and then she says, even though it is true, I'm sorry, I just could not stop laughing. Fuck off. Don't be an asshole to people, and people will be less likely to be an asshole to you. All right, let's move on with our stories that I meant to do today. Holy shit, spent half an hour on that silly bitch. I don't know if you guys saw it or not. This is big news. Sir Adamantine, thank you so much. Your wife is 10 tranny hairlines like this. Fair enough. And I don't mess with any of them. I leave them alone unless they're being dicks to people. Biden cured cancer, you guys. He forgot to tell everybody until yesterday when he had this press conference, and it was going around Twitter. So I wanted to go watch it in its entirety. And by in its entirety, I just mean within context of what it said, because it's like, how long is this goddamn thing? 30 minutes long, and I was not watching all of that. But where he says he cured cancer. So I brought up the full thing so we can watch it together. We can watch it and we can see the context around what he said. So here's the president of the United States. They're giving a discussion on how they're going to fix mental health care. Michael asks, which cancer? Ha ha ha. Good question.
And folks, I don't know what the difference between breaking your arm and having a mental breakdown is. It's health.
I don't know what the difference between breaking your arm and having a mental breakdown is. These are prepared remarks, y'all.
There's no distinction. It's health. Vivek Murthy, who's our Surgeon General, and I talk about this issue a lot. In the last two State of the Union addresses, I've laid out what I call the unity agenda. It's made up of 4 big things that we're going to do together as a nation. One of the things I'm always asked is, why Americans have sort of lost faith for a while on being able to do big things.
Why have Americans lost faith in being able to do big things? Maybe, and I'm throwing this out there, because it's one of the things I told you guys about Trump. Maybe it's because over and over and over again, you guys just beat down Americans. It's one of the things that Trump brought back was people believing, yes, go America. Before that, you literally had our president, Barack Obama, go on a European tour apologizing for America. Maybe it's that. I'm just throwing that down.
If you could do anything at all, Joe, what would you do? I said I'd cure cancer. They looked at me like, why cancer? Because no one thinks we can. That's why, and we can. We'd end the cancer as we know it. Deliver on our sacred obligations to veterans was the second thing.
We ended cancer as we know it. And then he goes into talking about veterans. Here, just a little bit more.
I think is critically important. Thirdly was beat.
And then he goes on to his third thing. So there's no other context. He ended cancer as we know it. The cancer statistics would disagree with him there. The reality of the situation, but we ended cancer as we know it because I said I want to. I laid this out in my State of the Union, and the stuff and things and stuff. We're gonna fix the veterans. Apparently, the whole veterans thing's all taken care of too. Keldrick, thank you. I think you'll appreciate this, Monk. A commie ranted about how comics have always been leftist. Among his politics, Captain America punched Nazis. I simply pointed out that Cap also punched commies, and that got me blocked. Just wish I got a screenshot. Fair enough, man. Fair enough. Yeah, it happens. Commies aren't that smart, man. So this is big breaking news. Cancer's ended, at least as we know it. He doesn't give any examples of why. There's no further context. He lays out his 4 points and he just goes into talking about mental health. And he does that thing where sometimes he gets really mad and sometimes he gets really quiet. So it's just your typical Joe Biden speech, but we ended cancer as we know it. I guess. I mean, I'm not even going to say I guess, because that's nonsense. It's nonsense. It's just absolutely stupid. And this is the president of the United States. This is prepared remarks. Now, I don't know if he slipped in that we ended cancer as we know it on his own, because it is Joe Biden and he goes off script, but we never get to see the original script to know where he's gone off script. He's clearly reading, though. No president other than Donald Trump got up there and just spoke off the cuff. The only time you see that is in an actual press conference where they're asked questions, where Biden doesn't really take questions. Not at the podium like this. He'll take it at Marine One. He'll be out there and he'll take a couple of questions where he can wander off, if the question is too hard. He's not up here answering any questions about, him and his son. He's given remarks on mental health care. I think this shows that we need better mental health care in America, because the president is clearly insane. Cancer's over, man. Joe ended it as we know it. I also showed what came before it so that you guys can see there's no buildup of him defining how cancer was ended. No. He just says, in my State of the Union, I laid out 4 things, and people said, why cancer, Joe? Nobody said, why cancer, Joe? Everybody wants cancer cured. There's nobody out there's like, why would you try to cure cancer, man? It's a good thing, man. I like cancer. It tastes, it's good on toast. You ever try it on toast with a little bit of peanut butter? Why cancer, Joe? Nobody said that to you. But he's always got to make it. This is one of the things. Joe Biden has been like this his whole career, is that he's always got to make it that he is the biggest, smartest. Nobody believes that he could get it done. Nobody believes that what he lays out is possible until he does it. He's like fucking Superman himself, punching Nazis and commies. He punched cancer right out of existence. And people said, why cancer, Joe? Yeah. People asked the guy whose son died of brain cancer why he wanted to cure cancer. That 100% happened. Jesus Christ, this fucking guy. That's our president, man. That is our president. All right. I forgot to bring up the story for the next one. No. Here we go. The White House dog. Now, this might seem very familiar to y'all. Might seem really, really, really familiar. The White House dog has started biting people. And the White House came out, and I don't know if it's in this article. We'll read the article a little bit, but Biden dog commander involved in biting incident says White House says he's getting more training. He doesn't need more training. He needs to be away from the White House. As this comes because email exchanges were released. These bitings have been going on for a while. We only found out about them Tuesday. 10 people. Yeah, that's what I heard too, Plague. I'm not positive, but in at least one case, broke skin. Any other dog that did that would have to be put down. And that's mentioned in one of the emails. Any other dog that had bit as many times as this one did would have to be put down. But in this case, it's the president's dog, Commander. Major, their former dog, had to be removed from the White House because he kept fucking biting people. I thought they set the dog away already. Donald, you're thinking of Major. You're thinking of the previous dog. That's why I said this sounds really familiar, doesn't it? Because for some reason, they keep bringing in German Shepherd puppies and raising them in the White House around all of these people. German Shepherds are fiercely loyal. And without very good training in advance, they will defend their family from everybody. One moment here. One of the excuses is that there's a lot of stress. Frosted Glass, thank you. The answer to why cancer, Joe, is pretty self-explanatory. Obviously, cancer was about to investigate Burisma. Thank you, Frosted Glass. Yeah, yeah. We'll get back to that later. They came out and said that the dog is stressed. That's why he's biting. The dog is stressed. Well, if the dog is stressed, get it the fuck away from that situation. That's animal abuse. And look, I think some people take the stress of animal thing a little too far, okay? A little too far. But it is a real thing. Like Phoebe does not like when other people are around. She's not as bad as some cats where she'll go into complete hiding and you'll never see her. But she stays on the periphery. She clearly doesn't like it when a lot of people are around. Okay, but she'll live. She doesn't bite people. If she did, we'd have a problem. She'll only bite people if they go and mess with her. So we just tell people, leave her alone. People leave her alone and she's fine. This dog has bit the people who are supposed to protect the president. According to one of the stories, and I'm not sure if it's in here. Again, I haven't read this story. I just grabbed one that talked about it. According to one of the stories, Jill is walking him in the Kennedy Garden, and there's a Secret Service guy standing away from them. Jill lets the dog off the leash. The dog immediately runs and bites this dude in the thigh before turning around and running back to Jill. That's not even a stress issue. He wasn't near the dog. But yeah, I love shepherds. I really do, because they're fiercely loyal. Joe's next pet should be an emotional support Easter rabbit. Oh, that would be wonderful. If World War III starts because a dog bit a world leader, I wouldn't know how to feel. You know, Colorful Glass, hopefully they keep this dog locked up when there's any dignitaries around, because goddamn. And I do not blame the dog at all. Not even a little bit. Don't blame them at all. This is a training problem. This is an ownership problem. This is I want to look cool with the dog in the White House problem. This dog does not belong there. I'm surprised he hasn't mauled somebody. German Shepherds are the dogs that they use to take down criminals. A German Shepherd will fuck somebody up. I'm surprised they haven't had to shoot him during an incident. Because he's a 2-year-old Shepherd, so he's full grown. He could fuck somebody up if he really, really wanted to. And it seems like it's getting worse. Anyway, President Joe Biden's younger dog Commander has been involved in several biting incidents at the White House and in Delaware, according to U.S. Secret Service email correspondence, which show personnel from the agency raising concerns about safety around the German Shepherd. The White House said the Bidens are working through new training for the family pet following the incidents. That should have been the first thing you did. After the first incident. And frankly, after the first incident, he should have been removed from the situation. The White House said the Bidens were working, blah, blah, blah. Another of the dogs, Major, was involved in biting incidents at the White House. He was later moved out of the White House. The emails, which were obtained through Freedom of Information Act requests by the conservative group Judicial Watch, show Commander was involved in 10 incidences, including one that required an officer to go to a local hospital. Did you catch that? This wasn't released by the White House. This was not released by the Secret Service. This had to be drug out of them by Judicial Watch. Commander, 22 months old, arrived at the White House in 2021. In one of the incidents described in the Secret Service email, the officer was referred to a local hospital after Commander clamped down on the officer's arm and thighs. Thighs. I believe it's only a matter of time before an agent/officer is attacked or bit, the staff member wrote in an email. The White House complex is a unique and often stressful environment for family pets, and the First Family is working through ways to make this situation better for everyone, said Elizabeth Alexander, communication director for the First Lady. Get the dog out of the White House. This is abuse. And again, and it is mentioned in one of the emails, one of the guys, he's like, if this was any other dog, it'd have been put down. And it would have. If you have a dog and it attacks your neighbor, they'll make you put it down. Depending on where you're at, it depends on how many incidences it takes of your dog doing so or how bad the incident is. 10? Absolutely, that dog would have to be put down. Sorry, but I just shoot it. It doesn't need shot, Gorbag. It needs to be on a family home. It needs to be on a family home with well-training to stay in its own yard, maybe even with an invisible fence kind of thing. It's not the dog's fault. The dog is just protecting its family because that's what these dogs do. What are the odds the dog learned this behavior from Joe? What are the odds that some of those bites were from Joe? They're just passing it off to poor Commander. He's not the one who did it. The Bidens are abusers. Absolutely. They got this dog the year that they got into the White House because going back many, many presidents, there's always been this thing of what the president animal is. What's the president's animal? And the Bidens learned from the Obamas who had Socks the cat. They got a dog later on, but nobody really cared about it. And you don't want to be the cat president. So they're like, we got to get a big dog. Big dog. I like big dogs. And they'll like big dogs. We got a big old dog and they'll talk about the big dog. All right. So you got a big dog and now people are getting bit. Sam, go see a doctor. Think that tweaker stabbed me. I'm bleeding from my side. See y'all later. I'm going to the emergency room. Yeah, good luck, man. Good luck. Make sure they give you a tetanus shot. God damn. Yeah, I hope you're all right. Always wanted a Saint Bernard. Saint Bernards are also fiercely loyal dogs. My girlfriend in high school had one, and you had to be introduced to that dog slowly. Because if you came in his house when he didn't know you were allowed in his house, that big motherfucker would fuck you up. They are beautiful, wonderful dogs, but they need a lot of care and yeah, that's what I like about big dogs is that they are loyal. They protect the family. And you can't just raise one in the fucking White House. Do you know how many people come in and out of the White House? And I'm not even talking like dignitaries and shit. Just your workers, your Secret Service, just the number of people that are in there. And they're lucky that this hasn't bit somebody else, that it has only been Secret Service where this shit was kept under wraps. He should get a lion. He might as well have, honestly. St. Bernards drool a lot. They can. It depends on the breed or on the dog itself. The one that my girlfriend's dog never was drooling. He's a big motherfucker, though. Good God. I could have rode him like a horse. Never did because I didn't want my balls bit off. But there you go. So Biden has cured cancer, and his dog is apparently trying to bring back Lockjaw. Thought Biden would get a Chinese pug. It's funny, Frank, but he probably should. He probably should get just a tiny little purse dog. Some yappy little thing that couldn't bite if it tried because it can't open its mouth that far. And if it got too close to you, could just punt the little bastard. Don't kick dogs. But, I mean, you're not going to do that to a German Shepherd, man. You ever fight with a Shepherd? They're strong. And I didn't fight with one, but ours was a Shepherd Bernard mix. Both parents were pure breeds. Dad got out, banged mom, and they had these weird hybrid puppies. And he used to love to play tug. He loved to play tug. He was so cute. This is how good these kind of dogs are with being family dogs. With my kids, he would just do these cute little tugs with them. I would grab it and he'd try to rip my fucking shoulder out of the socket. He would pull me. I was like 250 pounds. And with just his neck, this dog would pull my ass around. That's the kind of strength you're talking about with these dogs. You cannot have an untrained dog like that around that many people. This is animal abuse. And as bad as I feel for these guys who got bit, because if you've ever been bit by a dog, it fucking sucks. But I feel bad for Commander. He shouldn't be there. This is abusive to him. Anyhow, moving right along, I want to talk about how liberals can't read because, well, they can't. And, I ran into it today a couple of times. So I'm minding my own. I was going to say I was minding my own business, but I wasn't. I was trolling Twitter to see if there would be things to talk about later on the show. And for those of you who don't know, I think you pronounce it Bronny. Bronny James had a heart attack. For those of you who don't know who he is, he's LeBron James's 18-year-old son. His 18-year-old son had a heart attack during basketball training. I forget which college he's going to. Luckily, they resuscitated him. He's reportedly doing okay. But an 18-year-old male had a heart attack. So, of course, the internet lights up. The internet lights up, and it's USC. Thank you. University of Southern Cal. Of course, people are like, hey, myocarditis, jabs. And, of course, the other side comes out with, you don't know, it doesn't cause it. Including our dear friend, Brian Krasenstein. He put out this tweet. Says, myocarditis is a known side effect of COVID as well, more so than the vaccine. And he links this article right here, which we are going to read. And this is it. It's from the American Heart Association. Says COVID-19 infection poses higher risk for myocarditis than vaccines. And this came out just, the end of last year, August of 2022. And it is a collection of studies that were done. They went through and grabbed a whole bunch of other studies. And it shows actually COVID is what causes more myocarditis. Sometimes with, sometimes without the vaccine. Whatever. All right, that's fair enough. However, says the risk for myocarditis increased after receiving the first dose of AstraZeneca vaccine and after a first, second, and booster dose of the Pfizer or Moderna vaccine. But the risk of myocarditis associated with vaccines was lower than the risk associated with COVID-19 infection before or after vaccine, with one exception. Men under 40 who receive a second dose of Moderna vaccine had a higher risk of myocarditis following vaccination. Okay, that was a whole lot of words, so let me break it down. According to them, the risk of myocarditis is higher for everyone if you have COVID. Doesn't matter if you've had the shot or not. It's higher for everyone, except if you've had the Moderna vaccine and you're under 40 and you're a man. Under 40 and a man. Oh, like LeBron James's son. And that's all I pointed out. I was like, this wording right here could be important. It might be important to point out that specifically men under 40, when it comes to the myocarditis thing, the big issue there is young men, and actually men under 40. That's higher than it used to be, because it used to be men under 30. I'm still luckily outside of this, and I didn't have the Moderna, but it used to be men under 30. That's been bumped up to men under 40. So they added a whole bunch of people. And getting the Moderna vaccine, the second dose of it increased the risk, more so than just COVID or COVID with boosters. And it's amazing the number of dumbasses who said to me things like this: "This is why you should read the rest. This is the booster," or sorry, "those with boosters have lower risk of myocarditis than the other cohorts." And then he even includes this: "Conclusion, overall, the risk of myocarditis is greater after SARS-CoV-2 infection than after COVID-19 vaccination, and remains modest, blah, blah, blah. However, the risk of myocarditis after vaccination is higher in younger men, particularly after a second dose of the mRNA 1273 vaccine, the Moderna vaccine." In their own goddamn proof to show that I'm not reading enough, they show the same fucking thing. Now, this goddamn thing was going around everywhere, this heart.org thing, largely because of Brian Krasenstein's dumbass. But, I mean, I don't even know how to deal with these people anymore. You need to read. I did. That's why I knew what to say. I get so annoyed with people telling me that I need to learn to read, or that I need to read, because I do. There's every once in a while I will fall for a headline. I'm not going to lie. It happens. But 99% of the time, if I'm speaking on something, it's because I fucking read. You need to read. I fucking did. That's how it even says the one exception. And I purposefully did not include that in the part that I quoted. Because notice I didn't give a screenshot. I quoted it. I could have put the one exception in there so that it would, because I knew what would happen, and it amuses me. Eagle says, like I said, you can't argue with these people. Oh, I can. I can't change their minds, but I can absolutely argue with them. I can absolutely argue with them. And what will eventually happen is they'll just block me. I get blocked a lot for being right. And like what happened with Keldrick earlier. I think it was you, Keldrick, in the donation that you gave, pointing out that Captain America also punched commies. Like, block. Yeah, I can't. Yeah. See, Eagle. Yes, I got you. I'm technically right. Just get Joe a fish tank. He can. Oh, you know what? That's probably the best idea. Although it's Joe, so the fish will probably find a way to bite. I'm just saying. They do mention in one of the articles about the biting incident that they have a cat too who hasn't bit anybody. Like, it's a cat. Cats typically run unless you're trying to fuck with them. It's rare for a cat to come out of hiding and just scratch the shit out of somebody and run back in. Usually they'll do that to their owners because they're playing, but not to a stranger. Anyhow, I just thought that line was funny. I meant to bring it up earlier. Yeah, I get annoyed at being told I need to read. You need to read. I did read. You need to read, fucker. You gave a screenshot that backed me up. I don't know how to talk to somebody like that. And that happens more often than you would think, where people provide screenshots that prove me correct. And it's not because I'm that smart, but it is because I actually read. Which I guess by these days, I mean, does mean I'm like, "Right, he's so smart." I'm not. I'm really not. Oh, that's a good idea. Bear, you still here? You want to hang out? Da-da. Sometimes I get so wrapped up in talking that I don't think. I know Scribbles was around yesterday, and I thought after the show, fuck, I should have invited Scribbles on. It's just that sometimes that shit doesn't enter my brain as I'm in mid rant. Da-da-da. You know what? I don't know if he's still here. I will just send him a message. Da-da-da. We haven't chatted in a long time. That's not what I was doing. Doo-doo. There we go. Alex, if you're still in chat, you have a link now. Jump in if you'd like to. If not, oh, yeah, take your time, bud. Take your time. So, what else do we have on my profile as we're talking today? Lauren Chen had a talk with Vivek, and I found out I'm pronouncing his name ridiculously bad, but I still haven't learned how to say it. But Vivek Ramaswamy. I'm saying his last name right, but the Vivek is actually like Vivek. I can't say it. But Lauren Chen, Roaming Millennial, had a discussion with him today, which was kind of cool. What's up, Beast Boy? How you doing? And they were taking questions from the audience. So even though I'm a poor boy, I spent $10 to ask a question. And he answered it, kind of. Should we watch that? I think we should watch that. Let me get it to that point. Should be pretty easy. I forgot to. This is another one. Pull it up. Da 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 da. What? Hang on. I'm just getting it to the exact point. There we go. This is at the end of the show. She snuck my question in. I don't know if that's because we're kind of friends or if she really wanted. She had trouble at the beginning of her show, so she actually lost like half an hour out of their time together. So maybe it really was that it's the last question that she saw. Maybe it's because we're friendly. But here we go.
Answer. Ranting Monkey, one of Trump's biggest issues was relying on establishment politicians to recommend cabinet heads, leading to a lot of bad picks. How would you put together a cabinet as an outsider?
Now, did you catch that? I had a presidential candidate agree with something I said. That is something that has never happened in my life before. I can cross that off my bucket list, even though I didn't know it was on there. And it is true. We've talked about this before. Trump would have had a ton of success that he didn't have because he went off recommendations from people because he didn't have the inside knowledge. We were talking about this the other day, and it's one of the things Ramaswamy would have an issue with. And he gives an interesting answer here. He doesn't quite answer the question itself, but I had a presidential candidate agree with me. I'm very proud of that. I don't care. I just thought it was funny when he said yes. I'm like, he agrees. Anyhow.
So we're already doing it. Actually, one of the most important things we're developing in-house, actually, this is the first time I'm mentioning this publicly, Lauren, but I'll just share it, is
I also got him to say something he'd never said publicly before. I should interview this guy. I'm much better at interviews than like most of your TV. Now, in fairness to Lauren here, she wasn't asking any questions. She was letting the audience. This was a town hall. So it's not her that didn't ask very good questions. But he was on like the Hill show, I forget what it is, with Crystal Ball and that guy that sometimes gets to talk. And their questions were just fucking trash. Anyhow.
I've said that we want to get rid of 75% of the employees in the federal employee base.
This is something I hadn't heard him say before. Are you trying to get shot? Oh my God. Dude, I understand, and I don't disagree. We probably could get rid of 75% of people working in the federal government, non-military, and it not affect a goddamn thing. They are either redundant or shouldn't be there in the first place. And so I get it, but you're talking about firing a shit ton of people. Anyhow.
That means we keep 1 out of every 4. The most important thing we need at scale, we're talking about tens of thousands, really hundreds of thousands of employees, is a way of screening who actually fits the criteria of being part of the 1 out of 4 that we actually want to keep. So
now, I don't know if he just didn't understand my question completely. Maybe I should have said cabinet heads, because I asked how you put together your cabinet. The cabinet heads are the most important to begin with. And yes, when it comes to who's left, by the way, sorry, Ramaswamy, you're going to have to fire everybody if you're going with this criteria you talk about. But he never actually addresses the cabinet head part, unless you kind of take it from, like he said there, we're going to have a thing to screen them. So that to me, it comes off sounding like what he's saying is that they're going to pick from the people already in those departments. Like for DOD, for instance, let's say DOD is one of the places. He fires the top guy. I forget who's at DOD right now. Fires him, and he looks, okay, the second guy, nah, not you. Third, nah. Oh, fourth guy, you're pretty good, and picks that guy. Keldrick, thank you. Since it came up again, another guy said the commie punching happened at the height of McCarthyism. Then they retconned it to be someone else. Naturally, my response was the Nazi punching happened during World War II. It's like Cap changes with the times. Did you get blocked by that one too? Anyhow, back to Ramaswamy here. Thank you so much, Keldrick.
We're working on detailed, understanding of competence, psychological profiling, their answers to questions of understanding of the Constitution, what they are or are not empowered to do, what many people in the administrative state actually misunderstand.
Now, this is something that he's bringing. How do you do this? When you come in, are you going to give everybody a questionnaire? I suppose you can. You'd be the executive. I feel like that would lead to a lot of issues. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just curious.
Wielding power, sort of hiding behind the veil, but effectively getting their job satisfaction, not from their paycheck, but from the amount of power they actually wield, their understanding of constitutional restraint, to filter out the 75% we need to fire. That never happened under Trump. The other thing is, he took advice from people who did not have his or our country's best interests at heart.
1,000%. 1,000%. And I hope Trump, I haven't watched a lot of Trump and what he said. I hope he's acknowledged this. I hope he's acknowledged, yeah, look, I had bad fucking advice. These guys were the experts. That's who I went with. And obviously they were fucking stupid, because he had people not just that didn't have his or the country's best interest at heart, but were actively against him and, frankly, the country. But I'm so glad he said that part.
And that's why I think it takes not just an outsider CEO, and I'm an outsider CEO too. I've built businesses that have employed thousands of people in this country, that have helped thousands of people in this country. It's going to take an outsider CEO who also has a first personal understanding of the law and the Constitution.
All right, and we can wrap up there. My good friend Bear is here. Bear, how are you?
I'm very well. All the better for hearing my favorite monkey on the internet speak. How are you, dude?
Oh, you are too kind. Way too kind. I'm alive and happy, so we're going to stick with that.
Yes, I understand where you're coming from in regards to that.
Let me wrap up this segment real quick.
Okay.
I don't think Ramaswamy has a chance in hell of winning. I think after watching his interviews there with Lauren, I said this when he was talking to Tucker. He's just a little too anxious. He needs to calm down, rein it in just a little bit.
Bless him.
I think he ends up taking 4, maybe 5 questions in that whole hour because he just talks and talks and talks, or however long that ended up. His answers are way too long. So streamline it down just a little bit. And I'm going to be honest with what I've heard him say so far. If I was voting, which I haven't decided how I'm voting yet, I might vote for a guy like him. He has a lot of really good answers. He even addresses, somebody asked him, like, early on, it seemed like you were for vaccine mandates. He takes that question head fucking on. He doesn't dodge it. He's like, you're right. He goes, I, like many people, went with what the experts were saying, and I was wrong. I was like, God damn. And Lauren even comments on it. She goes, you know how I know you're not a politician? Because you answered that question. But yeah, it's he just direct, and I wish more politicians were like him. I wish Trump and DeSantis just came out and go, you know what? When it came to the pandemic, we made a lot of fucking mistakes. Yeah, we fucked up. We changed our mind. We fixed it. But we took bad advice at the beginning. Just
Monkey,
come out and say it that way.
Before you continue, I'm just asking permission. Is it okay if I just post my Streamlabs link in the chat there? As Dangerous
Dude, of
Faces
course.
is asking for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, of course. You know me. I tend not to show myself, but yeah, Dangerous Faces asked for it, so there it is.
Could somebody get that in the mix of the 3 so I can pin them at the top?
Oh, it's perfectly fine. You know me, Monkey. You know, give money to Monkey, guys.
Dude, that's how we do things around here.
Okay.
How you been, man? It's been forever.
I have been. I should give the ranting monkey standard answer for whenever I ask how you've been. You know, heat. It goes like oil and water with my shit. So, yeah. But other than that, I mean, I've been good. You know,
Good.
I've had the kid for the last week. You know,
Yeah. How's that going?
Oh well, yeah. He's been really good. He's been really, really good. I'm giving him back today.
Gotcha.
So yeah. How have you been?
Thanks, Dangerous. Just got back from vacation, which was wonderful.
Awesome.
Down in that. See, you mentioned heat. For me, heat's a good thing. Cold is my enemy, and down there in the 95-degree heat, it was so beautiful.
Yeah.
There's a lake right by my father-in-law's house. Excuse me. That actually helps cool a nuclear reactor. There's a power plant not far from where he lives, and this lake was built specifically to cool that power plant. Yeah. And he lives on the warm side of the lake where the water comes out of the power plant. So you get in that lake and it's like 80 degrees. It's just like, now when you go swimming, guys, no matter where you are, whether it's a pool or lake, the ocean, when your foot first goes in, it's like, oh, that's a little cold. Until your body you just get in there and like,
one of the upsides to having MS is that I don't know if I'm in cold water or not. Unless it's freezing, like really freezing, I can't actually tell. Yeah.
I can assure you, I know if it's cold.
Yeah, the heat, man, it makes everything worse. It just amplifies everything. But we're not here to talk about this depressing stuff, are we?
No. Tail fin ass, if swimming in that makes you grow extra limbs. No, it never actually comes in contact with the way they do it. Is it's not Chernobyl. It's fine. Monkey's going to end up glowing. I think that would be cool. I'm not opposed to glowing.
Glow in the dark monkey.
Yeah, that would be like the ultimate action figure.
I'd buy it.
See, I would too.
I'd 100%. So you're upsetting the trans folk, Monkey?
I upset one this day because I pointed out that it's an open wound and she didn't like that, and threw a big old fit. That chick, I've said this before. If you want to get famous, come out as a conservative trans person. You come out as a conservative trans person on social media and any conservative finds you, you're going to blow up. It's kind of like if you're masculine and come out as a full-on lefty, people will follow you because it's so rare. So the person started as kind of a liar to begin with. And I don't have any respect for people like that.
Yeah.
Their conversion away from the concert was just too fast. And so I have no respect for that one. And when I saw them trying to talk shit to cis women, yeah, I couldn't keep my mouth shut.
I see an awful lot of that these days. They're very loud, aren't they, the trans folk?
They really are. And that's part of the problem. Because they won't shut the hell up and enjoy the, let's call it what it is, the preferred status that they get in society.
Yeah, I've seen a great deal of kowtowing to trans folk.
Yeah, no, we need more. No, fuck off.
I don't think they need more.
They don't. They need less. They need to be treated like everybody else.
Yeah.
If I call them a stupid twat, then they should know. Okay. But if I do that on the wrong social media platform, I will get kicked off. They can call me that all day long.
Well, let's not forget these trans folks in literally the last year or so have been escalating things to violence. I remember back in 2016, when the Screechers themselves would escalate things to such levels. But threats of doxing and swatting, when swatting was a far greater threat, and losing your job. Going after your job and everything, but now it's the trans folk that are the ones making those threats. I see an awful lot of that these days,
and a lot of that has to do with the Keffel situation, which got blown way out of proportion. That stupid idiot ended up on like NBC nightly news for her bullshit
because Kiwi Farbs bullied me. No,
people were being mean to me, and I had to get $100,000 to go on a tour of Ireland. It's nonsensical. And when you have people like the president of the United States coming out and saying, trans people are like the most important people in the country. What was his exact wording? Something to the effect of the backbone of the country or some stupid shit like that. Until a few years ago, they were less than 1% of 1% of the population.
And they're the backbone of this here country.
Yeah. Because it's become a fad. Let's call it what it is. The trans-trender thing is true. We're not allowed to say that anymore. Can't call them trans-trenders. They absolutely are. Most of them will even I don't even know what I am. Then you're not trans, you're retarded.
The progressive stack never fails to amaze me, I suppose would be the word. Of course, Nikki has obviously woken up, and I'm on a stream with Monkey, and she's in bed right behind me. And
hello,
nub to hearing us talking about trans people. Did you hear him? He said hello. She's waving.
I don't generally go in on the trans stuff unless there's some stupid shit that I see, and unfortunately, we see a lot of stupid shit.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I talk about what's in the news most of the time, or what's blowing up on social media, which in my world is the news as well. So I talk about what's in the news. So if these people weren't, being shitbags, I wouldn't talk about them.
Well, no, you're right to call them out, Monkey. At the end of the day, if they're going to act like a lolcow, which is what that girl is, then she shouldn't be surprised when she gets called out for it.
All right, you willing to go on a journey of some news with me?
Oh, take me there. Take me there, Monkey.
We got a couple more stories that I want to cover. This one, I don't even know how to feel about this one. Florida's Supreme Court reprimands judge in Parkland school shooting trial. Now, I don't know if you remember, this is the one that made David Hogg famous.
Oh. What was the school again?
Marjorie Taylor Greene. No, it's Marjorie Dugman. I forget. something.
Is it
Stoneman?
Douglas? Douglas
Stoneman.
Stoneman. Because I made a video about that.
Yeah.
You know, a true crime-esque video. I wasn't, giving opinions on that.
Sure.
It's Stoneman Douglas.
Stoneman Douglas something high school.
Yeah.
Marjorie Stoneman Douglas. I think that is it. Anyway, so this is the big shooting, and this was the trial for the asshole who did the shooting. And the judge got reprimanded. But how the fuck do you get reprimanded being the judge? That should have been a pretty easy fucking trial. They had him dead to rights.
What did he do exactly? Did he give him advice, legal advice that he shouldn't have? What?
Well, it's a her, first of all. She's kind of cute, really. Oh, they don't have her picture here. Is it lower down? No, they had it on the tweet. I'll have to bring the tweet back up. Florida Supreme Court on Monday publicly reprimanded the state judge who oversaw the Parkland shooter's penalty trial last year, finding she engaged in improper conduct. So this is the penalty phase, not the criminal trial part.
Improper conduct? What did she do? Like, did she just taco smash the defendant? What?
No, she was a little too on the prosecutor's side.
I see.
Circuit Judge Elizabeth Shearer, I don't even know, admitted to violating Florida's Code of Judicial Conduct and agreed to the public reprimand after a Florida Judicial Qualifications Commission investigation found she had given the appearance of partiality to the prosecution. Shearer, who was randomly assigned the case last year, was sentenced Cruz to life without parole for the murder of 17 at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. There it is. It's right there.
Yeah.
After a jury opted against the death penalty. I mean, the sentencing of this was so easy. He killed like 17 people.
Yeah.
Life without parole is the
pretty
easy.
grim.
Yeah. The commission found that Shearer improperly embraced prosecutors and victims after sentencing, failed to take action to stop family members from directing vitriolic comments at Cruz's defense counsel, and chastises Cruz's attorney for how they announced the conclusion of a presentation during the proceedings court filing show. The commission also took aim at Shearer for accusing one of the Cruz attorneys of threatening her children after the attorney said, "Judge, I can assure you that if we were talking about your children, you would definitely notice."
Oh, boy.
She went on to tell the attorney he violated, quote, about every rule of professional responsibility and ordered him to sit in the back of the courtroom away from his client. All right.
If I may just jump in quick. Thank you, Keldrick, for Streamlabs Dono. I appreciate it, dude. He says, being half gay and half British means you're still 100% gay. Thank you. Thanks, Keldrick. I appreciate that, dude.
It's not gay if the balls don't touch.
It's only gay if you push back, dude. Yeah, but please continue, Monkey.
I don't know how to feel about this.
I could see why.
She obviously overstepped her bounds. Hugging the prosecutor, way over bounds. Way out of bounds.
Oh, yeah.
But this guy's kind of a shitbag who deserved to be put to death, honestly.
Yeah. In fact, I it's been ages since I even covered the bloody topic. I remember his quote unquote reasoning because he tried to just straight up walk home, didn't he? And I remember the interviews with the dude, and he had some pathetic excuses.
Well, they all put it down to he was bullied by these people. And you had the one chick, Emma Rodriguez or Ramirez or Garcia or whatever the fuck her last name was, come and do that one. They had that rally and she yelled into the microphone that you didn't know who he was. You basically would have bullied him too. What that bitch just said?
You'd have bullied him too. I like that. It's a great argument to raise, in the court of law and everything.
Yeah, this was just at a rally, but still, I mean, that's a horrible thing. You would have bullied him too. You didn't know him. That's well, okay.
Well, good.
That's not a good reason to bully a kid because he was annoying to you. Just ignore him.
Wasn't he
that
involved in what's the army thing that your youngins do? I always forget what it's called.
ROTC?
Yeah, he's ROTC, wasn't he?
I don't believe so, but
I'm sure he did a little bit of it.
I didn't pay that much attention to him during this whole thing.
I'd have to go back and look at my sources and stuff on this to remind myself.
The thing is, there's no reason to have shot up a school.
Oh no, there's never a reason to shoot up a school ever. Period.
But if bullying is part of what pushed him over the line, and you're out there going, "Yes, I did it," well, fuck you too. So that Emma chick, that's probably why she didn't become as famous as David Hogg did. One of his victims was a JROTC cadet. I gotcha. I don't know how to feel about this judge. And look, she stepped down from the bench June 30th, I think it said. So she's not overseeing anything else. But I get it. I get it. But on the other hand, you're a judge and you're supposed to remain impartial. And you going down and hugging the prosecutor at the end of it, I mean,
it's not good optics. It's unprofessional.
No, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So the reprimand makes sense. She absolutely deserved it, but yeah, let's. I told you I'd bring up her picture. She kind of cute. I wouldn't mind being sentenced by her. I'm just saying. Look at her. For a judge,
I was expecting something very obese and something very angry looking, but no.
I would take that embrace. Maybe squeeze the bottom a little bit. Just saying.
Well,
be like, Judge, what will really make me feel better is a blowjob.
And then I imagine you'd probably get a slap, which is probably more unprofessional behavior.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Plague says mess 6 out of 10. For a judge, she's an 11 out of 10. Have you seen the judges in this country? They are ugly as fuck.
Monkey, I would raise you. British judges. Wearing the wigs and shit.
Fair enough.
They look like testicles with wigs, mate.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Is this grounds for an appeal? No, it's not grounds for an appeal. I don't know why. It's just the sentencing. It's not the trial itself. This was just for the life in prison. It's life in prison for 17 murders. I mean, appeal it, they'll redo the sentencing phase. He's going to end up with life in prison again.
How old is Cruz now?
Oh, God, I don't know. He's got to be in his mid-20s.
Yeah, I'm about to say, this was some time ago now.
2017, I think.
We're getting old, Monkey.
I know. Yeah, still in his early 20s, probably 23-ish. College age, because Hogg is still in college.
I just remember the dude having really big hair. Like stupid, unkempt hair.
I want to address this. And I don't know how this is over there, but here we hear a lot about how expensive college is. Oh, God, I almost called you Jack.
It's okay. I can be not Jack for you. I rate not Jack. There you go.
Not Jack. There's a lot of talk about how we need to pay for college because it's so expensive. It's so expensive.
That is a topic that does get brought up here, yes.
Well, this one professor, she writes this tweet about how if you want to see where college expense has gone up a lot, don't look to the teachers. She said you can look a little bit to like buildings and stuff like that. Okay. But she said the real thing is administrators. And this is a topic I've talked about many times on this show because here in the US, the college administrators have skyrocketed. And I went to look for an article, and I didn't find the one that I wanted to find. But I did find another one. This one's from the New York Times called The Real Reason College Tuition Costs So Much. And it's mostly talking about how there's a bottomless purse involved. And there is, because if you go to college here in the US, you'll get your government-backed loans pretty much guaranteed. And the more money you have, the colleges be like, oh, well, then I can just charge more. But at the end of the story, they finally bring up the part that I've been talking about, the administrator thing. And I just want to give a little math here on it. It says, where are we at here? This is the one I want. Even more strikingly, an analysis by a professor at California Polytechnic University, Pomona, God bless, I can say all those words, I promise, found that while the total number of full-time faculty members in the CSU system, that's the California State University system, grew from 11,600 to 12,000 between 1975 and 2008. That's an increase of about 400. The total number of administrators grew from 3,800 to 12,000.
How many do you need?
Apparently 12,000.
Good grief. All right.
This went up 8,000. The total number, I think, is like 8,361, something to that effect. 63. I forget exactly. But if you do the math on that, I went and looked. Do you know what Glassdoor is?
No.
Glassdoor is a site that you can kind of get an idea of what salaries people are paid.
Okay.
People who work there come and self-report how much they're making. The average salary for a administrator at this Polytechnic Institute is $51,000.
Wow. Really?
Yeah.
Really? For an admin?
Yeah.
Holy
if you take that number,
shit.
you take that number and you multiply it by 8,000 in the California state, because the full state system is probably about the same. It's $600 million. $600 million.
I thought it was due to fewer students. Well, if you're having fewer students in general over the years.
No, actually, the number of students just keeps going up because they have to admit more people so they can pay for this shit.
$51,000.
Even if you do that at 20,000, even at just $20,000, you're talking about, what is it? $200 million a year.
That's
a year.
Insane. I mean, that's crazy.
Why is college so expensive? Because you have administrators for everything, and it's only getting worse because now you have like your DEI and your anti-racism and all of these other new administrators that they have to have for reasons
that I'm sure are so incredibly busy, especially in the state of California, which is full of racists and misogynists abound in this brand new TikTok generation, I'm sure. Now, over here in the UK, I don't know how much. I couldn't give you a rough estimate of how much an admin at one of our colleges and universities would earn, but I could probably give an educated guess that it would probably be half of that. And in terms of the amount of them, I don't think so. That many? That's ridiculous. I know America's a much bigger country, that one of your states could swallow the entire UK whole. But there are 65 million of us here.
Sure.
I don't think so. That said, your college system sounds like it's suffering from NHS syndrome, to be honest.
It is.
Yeah, because that's the problem with the NHS that we have, is the middle management admin bullshit. That's the reason why it's constantly crumbling. And people are having to wait literal fucking years for very basic appointments, of neuropathy appointments, and so on and so forth. I don't know about our colleges, but it has been used as a political football in recent years, especially because we have a liberal democratic party here in the UK. For those who don't know, they are tiny, they are pathetic. They're probably considered other at this point. I think it's about 9 of them. Monkey. I remember them bringing it up as a point, promising free college. Of course, it's never actually free. But it doesn't really get brought up. It's not nowhere near as much of a hot topic here as something like the NHS is. You know what I mean? That's crazy, Monkey. Good grief.
Colorful glasses. Don't forget textbooks and readings written by professors and their friends. Yeah, that's part of it, but that has long been part of it. Something that somebody did bring up to my post, they said, that doesn't count the staff that has to work for these people. That doesn't count the buildings that were built to house these people, for their offices and shit. All of this is stuff that is just added on and on. And that's one system. That is the California state system. There are tons of other colleges in California that are not part of the state system. There are hundreds of colleges throughout the United States. And in just that one, the administrators alone cost more than $500 million a year.
And the most upsetting thing about that, you could put that, you could counter the argument by saying, yes, but it's an investment. But the thing is, I would counter that and be like, well, a college or university education is no guarantee of employment.
True.
And I mean, and what about the loans themselves? How are they paid back, and over how long?
Bad Bob says student enrollment is static over the last few years, and they're trying to get it back up because, but when you say it's static, you also have to look at how much it's grown. You look at the number of people in universities here in the United States, in colleges overall. I believe it went from 10 million to 20 million in the last 40 years. So we're getting to a point where we don't have any more college students to put in the system. You hit that, that plateau eventually.
Yeah.
And when we're sending pretty much every kid to college, we're getting close. So,
and surely adult enrollment must have some bearing on this.
Well, I mean, there's adults like me who, we come out of the 90s. I would have graduated in 93 if I finished high school. There's a lot of my friends who didn't go to college, but by the mid-aughts, they're forcing pretty much you have to go to college or you'll never get a job.
I mean, that's bullshit. You just,
there's only so many. There will be a cap eventually where it's like there's just no more kids to put through the system. You're maxed out. The only way to do more is to have people hump more, which I support. I support more humping.
Well, of course.
It's hump day, so remember, guys, consensual humping. Get out there and do it. But
yeah, you must. It's the law.
The overall issues, we have all of these politicians like you mentioned over there, where we have them here. Like, we need free college. The problem we have right now is twofold. You forced every kid in, and you give basically a bottomless pit of money. What did you think was going to happen?
Yeah.
I know that what they thought was going to happen is exactly what is happening. And it was an eventual move to try to get it free college for all. And everybody doesn't need to go to college.
And how many of them are enrolling in, trade schools? I mean, I imagine they fall under the college bracket, right? How many of them are
trade schools are different.
Are they not fall under the same bracket?
Not over here, no.
I hear in the UK there are a few colleges. I've actually been to some of them. By the way, I didn't go to college, by the way. I just happened to visit. There's a few trade colleges. Hell, I've even been to an agricultural college, would you believe, for a wander around and everything for the day. But so what is the topics being taken by by these kids, diplomas or whatever? Are they worthwhile topics? I would hope they are.
Because we do have agricultural colleges. We do have colleges that teach technical stuff. But they're not the same as a trade school. A trade school is typically you go there for this thing. You're going there just to learn to weld. Yeah. You're going there just to learn to make widgets.
Although, of course, Monkey, don't quote me because I actually don't know.
Oh, no, that's fine.
Under my own classification, so.
But we do have, like, there's a college not that far from me where I know they taught the machining that I did at the machine shop I worked at. Well, they actually use, because it's a college, they have all the brand new stuff, and we were using stuff from World War II. But ideally, they have it. So, I mean, there is some of that, but there is also a ton of just the nonsensical stuff, like a gender study degree, a women's
That's
study
what I was
degree.
alluding to, as you
Yeah, there's
probably
a ton of
guessed.
that shit.
Yeah.
Or even something as simple as an English degree. Now, I'm not bashing English. I like it. I speak it. But an English degree is meaningless without something else. I mean, if you just, okay, I can write English very well. Good. I know which pronoun to use. You have no use in society anymore. But I mean, just something like that, that doesn't really do anything for you unless you have like a teaching degree on top of it, or a creative writing degree on top of it, something like that, or a specialty in those things.
This is what I'm saying. Like, if you take geography, geography is only good for teaching geography.
Or, I mean, there's very, like the U.S. Geological Association, if you can get hired in there, but there's so many limited jobs there. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's a limited market. So yeah, at a certain point, you have saturation. You have, I guess I'm teaching geology. So you're not wrong about that, but at least there is a job there. There's literally no job that's gender studies.
So in the UK, Monkey, I know, at least to a certain degree anyway, that a lot of these courses that you can go on, whether it's, equine or animal care or whatever else, just imagine a topic, philosophy. Usually, from what I have seen, you are made to do like core subjects as well, like maths, English, science, all that sort of stuff.
Sure.
As well as whatever like topic you've decided to take on. Because, at the end of the day, maths, English, science, those are your core. That will certainly help you. A lot of how it works in the UK, when you see a job advertisement, they'll be like, oh, we're looking for people with 5 grade A to C's, or or equivalent in higher learning or whatever else.
Sure.
I'm not entirely sure whether it matters specifically what those 5 A to C's are, or whatever diplomas are. But it kind of makes sense to do that. That said, I know for a fact that the whole gender studies thing was something that was being forced on these kids as something they had to do as like a core subject way back from 2016. That's not helpful. That's just wasted money.
My daughter,
it's not going to help him either.
My daughter was getting a degree in accounting, had to take a course on women's studies. And I'm like, why? Why the fuck?
Help.
Yeah. And when she taught, it blew my fucking mind. I'm like, I can't believe you're being forced to pay for this.
But that doesn't, again, like you should be able to choose, right? Like you should be, like, if you're putting yourself in the debt, like
it should be, especially with something like that. If you want to go be a lawyer, there should be a fast track to this is how you become a lawyer, and not, hey, you also have to learn about basket weaving feminists. There's no call for the rest of that shit except indoctrination into feminist bullshit. Eagle, you beat me to the word indoctrination. I was getting there. But that's what it is. Yeah, it's forcing it on it here in the U.S. I don't know how it is over there, but here in the U.S., the indoctrination shit, they kept it away from our primary school. That's our K through 12, kindergarten through 12th grade. It stayed away from there until very recently. It was all in college.
What use does that have? That's a massive waste of resources.
But they pushed it through to colleges, and it's one of the reasons they push kids there is because they know they can get away with it there. If you tried to do what they're doing now in schools 10 years ago, there would have been a massive revolt. And there already is here in the U.S. You have like your parents rising up against some of the nonsense that they're pushing in our schools. But if you did it 10 years ago,
what is it called? The racial one, it always escapes my mind.
The DEI?
No,
anti-racism.
No, it's an acronym. The whole racial
I know
thing.
what you're talking about.
Yeah,
yep.
A lot of people were talking about it not too long ago. Is it CRT? No, is it
CRT? Thank you. Yes,
that's the topic.
CRT.
And that's one of the most dumbest things you could ever bring up as a topic, because it's literally activism. Like, you don't teach activism to kids. That the ideology behind that is an activist ideology.
Yes.
It's not fully fleshed out, so it's dumb. Like it's dumber than the rest of it.
Yeah, CRT stands for critical race theory.
That's the one. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, see, you say race, but everything I just said, the DEI, the anti-racism, and CRT, all of these are racial-based activist bullshit that are being pushed in our primary schools now. As low as preschool, before they even get to kindergarten.
Do they think children even understand what race is, or even are capable of seeing race?
Yes, because they know if they teach it to them, then they'll. Children are sponges.
But
there was this one. This goes back to the trans nonsense. We watched this one video where this preschool teacher is talking to these kids, and she has this puppet up there, and she doesn't say what if it's a boy or a girl, but suddenly the kids start saying it. Could be a boy, it could be nothing. It could be trans. These are preschoolers. This is younger than 5. And she didn't say anything about it during this little filming. And then they show that the teachers sitting around talking and how proud they were that the kids picked up on the stuff that they'd been taught, because they know targeting young is the easiest way to push bullshit, because young people are stupid and will just absorb what you say. Because they don't know anything. They're literally a blank slate. They know they can force this shit on kids.
Well, I'm actually flabbergasted by it, right? Because I've seen the odd video, and I thought maybe it was just, the odd one-off school.
No. This is all over.
No, and that's alarming. I actually couldn't tell you if that kind of thing happens here in the UK. There are things that I know of in the UK. I told you what happened with my eldest a long time ago. They teach what's called citizenship here, and they were trying to teach him that, like, if I didn't give him pocket money, that was abuse. No, I'm not joking. By the way, I'm not joking about that.
Wow.
Yeah, and basically along those lines or whatever. And in fact, when he had a parents teacher kind of like meetup, I was asking questions about this, and I expressed my opinion, and I was called Victorian for being disagreeing with the ideological mania they were apparently teaching my eldest on that. But it's kind of crazy, really. But they're now doing this to children in America.
Dude, it used to be if you didn't like what public schools were teaching, you'd send your kid to a private school. You'd pay thousands and thousands of dollars every year to send your kid to a private school. And then private schools started popping up with this same shit. And there's a reason for it. It's because all of the teachers who are coming out of college have been taught this shit. So it doesn't matter where they go. It doesn't matter if they go to a private school, whether they go to a charter school, whether they go to your normal K through 12, or they end up in the college system themselves as professors. They're all taught this same bullshit. So they're all going to teach this same bullshit. It's an indoctrination that has happened. This is some shit that started back in the 60s, where they slowly started pushing this
the hippie crap.
Yeah. You say hippie, I say commie. It's commie.
You say bullshit. 60s, I think of love, weed, and mainly serial killers.
But the hippies were communists. I mean, they talked about going to live on communes all the time.
Oh yeah.
They're just, they're dirty commies. They're like flea infested commies. But yeah,
all communists flea infested. Because
some of them wash occasionally for a picture.
Oh yeah. But that Vorsch fella, he looks dirty.
Mr. E says, hippie, commie, what's the fucking difference? There isn't a difference. It's one of the reasons I hate hippies.
I just thought it was something that people in the 60s grew out of. That all turned into serial killers.
A lot of them did, but something communists know, and communists are very smart on this, is that if you target children, then you're going to win.
Well, that's what the Black Bloc does, isn't it?
Yeah.
That is what they called Antifa do.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
funny. It's funny. Do you remember Porco Dio? Do you remember him from all those years ago? Had a
Sounds
pig
familiar.
avatar, Brit Bong like me.
It sounds really familiar, but dude,
It's going back some years, I know.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
he actually he was, did the same type of stuff we did back in the day. And he actually used to be a part of Antifa. And he explained to me how it's all done. And you're right, that's exactly what they do.
Yeah.
The elders, which are about 30, because that's being old in a communist terrorist group, apparently.
You don't live very long when you're starving.
Yeah, God bless their hearts, all of them. But they put the young'uns in the black bloc.
Mhm.
So it makes sense.
Young people, and look, it's nothing against young people. We were all young at one time, but they are moldable. It's why we teach them at that point. It's so much easier to teach them when they're young, because there's not all the shit that's in their brain like we have. I'm 48. My brain is full of shit. When you're young, you're like, oh, pretty. And then you get, until somebody teaches you something. It's very easy to get that for two reasons. One, the brain hasn't formed. The brain doesn't finally finish forming till about 24 to 26. It's specifically the frontal lobe. That's the last part that is finally, all the way done.
And don't forget neurodivergent people, Monkey.
Oh, don't even start that shit.
I'm sorry. I saw it on Twitter earlier. I couldn't help myself, dude.
The second part is that they have no life experience.
Yeah.
If you have no life experience and somebody tells you something, well, you're just going to believe it because you have nothing to counter it with. Right? I'll give you an example. Watching that fucking idiot earlier, the trans person and they're so mean to me on the internet. If I had never been in this conversation, if this was the first time I'd ever seen anything about the trans argument, I would have been like, that is horrible. Why would somebody say something like that to you? But I had the experience of actually having read the other shit this retard had said.
Well, context always matters. Yeah.
Context matters. And you don't have context without experience.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's very, very easy to get in there to kids and tell them like, oh, would you believe how much you're paying for college compared to what we used to pay? It should be free for you.
Without explaining the concept of inflation to them.
Or why it went up in the first place with the fucking all these administrators. You never see, not one time have I seen Elizabeth Warren, and this is her this is her drum beat that she uses when she's, pretending to be an Indian. We gotta have free college. Not once have I seen this twat say, hey, what we need to do is cut the number of administrators so that college is cheaper. Not once.
Of course not. That would lose her votes.
Maybe it would get kids going, yeah, why do we have so many fucking administrators? But no, that would, cut out the middleman.
Mm-hmm.
And then we wouldn't need government. But yeah, so kids are very easy to manipulate.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's when you think about it, this is like an overloading of everything.
Yeah.
Of not just ideology and not just the money here, but like it's oversaturation of the job market as well. Like the teachers, specifically the teachers and the administration markets as well.
We have a lack of teachers right now. We're actually having trouble because we have
got too many of the ideological maniacs teaching and not, actual teachers by the sounds of it.
Yeah, we don't have, your history and math teachers. We have plenty of English teachers because that's, no offense to English folk, but that's the easiest degree to get. You have plenty of those. You don't have your actual math teachers. We have a lot of our new math teachers where we'll just give you a grade based on your color. If you're black, you get an A. It doesn't matter if you wrote 2 + 2 = 46.
Is that just them trying to pump numbers up again? Is that the equity that's happening right now?
How do you mean pump numbers up?
Giving people certain demographics higher grades because they need X demographic to achieve better numbers, so they get their funding. You know what I mean?
Partially, yes, but it's also the fact that I know we talked about this last night, guys, but it's relevant. It's also the fact that liberals think that you Negroes are stupid.
Is it not the whole math is white supremacy thing again?
No, it's they don't believe that black kids are smart enough to pick up math, so that they need white man's help to pass.
Which is
racist as fuck.
Very fucking racist. Yes, it's outright bigotry. But bigotry of low expectations.
Black people, even though, and this is something you guys can go check yourselves. Go look back in the 70s and the early 80s. Black people were getting on par with white people on everything, on their grades, on their income, everything. And then we decided, we can't have that. Those darn Negroes are catching up. We got to put them back in their place by telling them they're stupid. And that's what happened. And you can see it every day in these fucking things that they're out there in California. They have this reparations board, right?
Okay.
To decide if Californians deserve to get reparations for slavery. But that's not all they're doing. They need reparations elsewhere too, including things like grades. These black kids, they need extra grade because slavery. None of them are slaves. They can read just as well as white kids if you teach them.
From what I know of American history, that post-Civil War, actually during the Civil War, Abraham Lincoln promised the colors reparations, and they were to be given a plot of land, a mule, and things like that.
40 acres and a mule.
Yeah, 40 acres and a mule. And of course, this never happened because the VP was a white supremacist, basically, post Civil War and everything. Now, that made sense to me. When I learned of this, that made sense.
Right after the Civil War, absolutely.
Yeah. That made sense. Giving, these kids a boost in their grades, that's not reparations.
No, reparations would be actually teaching them.
And sure, if you want to have reach out programs and that kind of thing in poorer areas, you know what, go for it. But do you need to treat black people like that?
No,
I don't think so. It's incredibly racist.
I grew up around black kids. I grew up around all kinds of kids because I was a military brat. Black kids, Asian kids, white kids, there was no one of us was better based on color. The only thing that showed anybody was better than anyone else was the kids who actually studied got better grades than the ones who were fucking off all the time. And the ones who were fucking off all the time were white and black. The Asian kids, they were not allowed to. Their parents would have killed them. But there were white and black kids who were fucking off all the time, didn't do their studies, and they failed. That's what caused it. It wasn't their skin color. It was their lack of doing the work. The smartest kid in my when I went to the school in the hood, the smartest kid there, and he was 100% smarter than me, was a black kid. His name was Nathan, and he always wore Cosby sweaters. Thank you, Alan. Appreciate the donation with no message there. But he was the smartest kid I've ever met. And I knew lots of Asian kids, but his mom and dad, he almost was the Cosbys. His dad was a doctor. I forget what his mom was, but his dad was a doctor, and his dad did not put up with anything less than A's. He would get in trouble if he got a B. And it was amazing. He got A's despite being black, and he was black, y'all.
Was he of Caribbean descent?
No.
Okay.
He was African American.
The reason being I asked that is because, as you know, when in the UK, Windrush generation and all that, we brought over a lot of the Commonwealth folks post World War II because the UK had been bombed to shit, and we were like, well, we need help rebuilding it, And the people that we brought over, especially the Windrush guys, they were very intelligent, incredibly intelligent themselves. and how they were with their kids. I grew up with a lad whose dad was Jamaican. And I tell you what, it's like the same kind of attitude that you have there. You don't fuck around. You go to school and you work hard. Like his name was Jason. He's one of the smartest guys I knew as well.
You have to realize this is the let's see, what year was I in? This was 13 and 14. So we're talking 80, 88, 89-ish.
I was born in 1988, my king.
And so you understand. This is a guy whose dad is a doctor. So in order for his dad to have been a doctor for his age, his dad went to school in the 60s and 70s. His dad was there when there was actual racism, and his dad worked his ass off to become a doctor, and there's no fucking way he was going to let his son be a layabout. You're like, nah, get your ass you are going to do this work, and you're going to do it well. And yeah, that's what it takes. And realize sometimes parents aren't going to be like that, but the schools have to have standards, and they have to expect the standards. And one thing you will find with kids is that if you set a standard for them, this is what I expect from you, they'll hit it. Unless they have like a learning disability, which does happen, they will meet your expectations. And if your expectations are you can't do anything, well, they'll be like, well, I guess I can't do anything. And I don't know what they're doing over there, but over here, we're telling kids, especially black kids, you can't get ahead. You're oppressed. And when you tell kids that, why would they ever try? You've just told them even if they try, they're gonna fail. And the amazing,
having that standard, I mean, there's a reason why we have a standard. So when they, because school's gonna, they're gonna have leeway. Work is not, the world of adulthood and working. Have no time for your bullshit.
Except for now we have HR departments. Hang on, I gotta send a snap to my beautiful wife. She just sent me one. Sorry, this happens on morning streams. Anyhow, you have to have standards for them, and if you do, it's amazing how often they meet them. And the problem is, we don't want to be mean. We don't want to upset little. I was going to say Tyrone, but that felt racist.
Well, you don't have to be mean either, do you?
No, but telling a kid that they aren't doing their work properly and that they're fucking up. Oh, you made him cry. Tell that pussy to learn how to do math.
Bob, if you
were
wrong when I was a kid, you were just told that you were wrong. Like you need to improve here and here and here. Like, is that not how basic criticism works? And then you don't have to be a dick about it to kids, right? You can.
Well, right. that's another thing we've done. I mean, we've turned them into such pussies. And I'm not even talking about getting bullied in the schoolyard. That's a whole different discussion. But holding them to any account is bullying them. You're being mean. Don't you understand what he's been through? He's a little rich black kid. He hasn't been through shit. What are you talking about?
Well, one might even argue that technically you should be harder on them then. If they're coming from that kind of background where these, where they're coming from, the hood, as one might use, where there's full of gangs and all they see are these older kids, with guns and big sports cars and all the jewelry in the world, and that's who they look up to. You got to be harder on them, surely.
You would think. Good morning, tall person. Thank you for that donation. Says, good morning, happy National Bagel Fest Day. Well, thank you. I don't know what a Bagel Fest is.
I don't know either.
I didn't mean to be on this topic so long, but yeah, it just bothers the shit out of me the way we've just dumbed down everything. And especially, look, it's not like they're extremely hard on white kids. If we're being honest, they're just not. They're not hard on any kids, but especially like, oh, those black kids, they can't learn this colonialist math. It's math.
Is it not the same where in Africa as it would be in Russia, as it would be in America?
Yeah, you would think. I mean,
surely math is the only actual universal language that we actually have.
Math is the thing that takes us forward, because it is logical. There's an answer. It's the only thing in the world where there's an answer. 2 + 2 is 4. Doesn't matter how you say it, whether it's dos plus dos, dos y dos, or whatever. The answer is 4. And yeah, you can have different words for it, but it's always 4. It's the thing that makes it's the thing that drives technology is math. Because without math, everything falls apart.
Well, yeah.
The basis of science is math.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can
physics
have
in particular.
Yeah, you can have two different versions of history, right? You can be like, X happened because of Y, and but X it happened because of L and P also. Math, it's 2 + 2 is 4. And especially when it comes to them dumbing down math for kids, it's just like, Jesus fucking Christ. What are you trying to do? Thank you, Spudgun. Windrush story is balls. It was 400 people, 3 and 48.
No, that's incorrect.
What is Windrush?
The Windrush is the natural name of the ship that brought over Jamaicans to the UK.
Ah, okay.
It's been 75 years. I think it's been longer than that. It was the HMT Empire Windrush, docked in Essex, 1948. They were invited here to fill the labor shortages that we were having post Second World War.
And it makes sense. This is something I've seen in the immigration debate here. Like, well, we need them to fill jobs. With our employment being where it's at, if that's a real number, 3% unemployment is basically what we would call full employment. And if there's more jobs that need filled, then you bring in people to fill them. The problem is you're supposed to bring in people who can fill those jobs, just not everybody.
What's the birth rate over there at the minute?
I don't know. I know it's not as high as it should be.
I believe it's the same here. I think. Don't quote me. I'd have to look that up.
But yeah, it's not as high as it should be. I think we're still at replacement numbers, but just barely, if I remember correctly. So, yeah. Too many people here already. There's too many illegal people here already. We were driving going to Virginia, and I was talking to my wife, and we're just seeing all this fucking empty land, and not farmland, empty land. And I told her, I'm like, I keep seeing all these people saying we have too many folks here. We have plenty of space.
Yeah.
The problem is they're all congregating in cities, and a ton of them are illegals who have no skills. We should not be taking in just everybody. It should be skilled laborers if that's what we're going to do. If we're short on labor, it should be skilled laborers.
Yeah.
That's what it should be. Period.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, unskilled labor is never really going to be short, is it?
Random says, I'm not talking about space use. I just don't like people. I guess that's fair. But all right, I want to move to another story because I do want to talk about this. I don't know if you ever played D&D.
No.
Okay. I read a story in PC Gamer yesterday that pissed me off, and I actually got into an argument with the guy who wrote it.
Oh, really?
It never ceases to amaze me that people will respond to a guy with a monkey avatar.
I try getting reactions from people like that, but no, monkey, my mouth gets me in trouble elsewhere, as you know. So
sure.
Yeah.
This is a story about Baldur's Gate 3. It says, I'm so relieved Baldur's Gate 3 doesn't have D&D's alignment system. Without lawful good and chaotic evil, Larian is free to give us more nuanced moral choices.
Okay.
Oh, this pissed me off so bad. You don't get nuance by taking away characters' limitations. If I'm a paladin, right? Paladins in D&D have to be lawful good. You can't just go on a murder spree as a paladin. You'll lose your powers because you have to be lawful good in order to do it. And so when you're in a situation and it's morally ambiguous and you're playing a paladin, you have to come up with nuanced things to deal with it. If you can just go like, well, I can do whatever the fuck I want, there's no nuance to that.
No, that's not nuance. That's just you being a dick.
And that's what I pointed out. And this guy comes back. I guess I could put the exchange on stream.
What's the point in role playing?
I said this guy
remove that kind of thing.
Well,
you know,
you can still role play, but it's not D&D.
Yeah,
and that's kind of what we get into a discussion about. I said this kind of shit annoys me. Robin Valentine here doesn't like restrictive alignments in D&D. Want to be a paladin that murders for fun? Do it. You get more nuance that way. What a load of crap. And he says, I think you must realize that's not at all what I'm saying. It's literally what you were saying. Yeah, Yinny. But then he comes back with this because I said, it's exactly what you said. And he says this: how do you believe it works in the countless tabletop RPGs and video games that don't use the alignment system? To which I said to him, go play one of those. I mean,
well, he's happy about the identity being stripped away here. That's basically what he's arguing, right?
Here's my take on it. I think there's a whole lot of people who want the nerd credit of saying I play D&D without playing D&D. They want to change what D&D is so that they can. For those who don't know, that's Dungeons and Dragons. They want to change D&D into something that they like, so they can claim, see, I got my. They want to claim the nerd credit without having to do the nerd things.
Monkey, if I may, for just a moment, you gonna say hello to Monkey?
Hey, Monkey.
Hello.
Did you hear him? He's very quiet there. I'm just gonna be back in a moment, mate. All right.
Sure.
Yeah.
Core rules depend on alignment. Yeah, but apparently they're getting rid of alignment in D&D itself too, according to him in his article there. I hate this shit because it's one more thing that they're changing it, and I don't mean to gatekeep. You know what you can do? You can have a D&D GM, a DM. Sorry, it's D&D. A dungeon master who's like, all right, we're not dealing with alignments. You can do that all you want to. But this is a video game, and look, he does have one good point in his article that they've never done a really good job of implementing alignments in the video game itself. It's really hard because you need more of the personalities talking to each other like you would do in a tabletop for that kind of stuff to come up. And he gives the example in a lot of the role-playing games. What they'll do is you'll turn in a quest where you saved a cat from a tree, and the paladin answer would be, you're welcome. Like they say, here's 200 gold. Thank you for saving my cat. And like, I didn't do it for the gold. That would be what you're supposed to answer as a lawful good, because you didn't do it for the money. That's not why they do things. They do things just because it is the right thing to do. That's what lawful good means. And it's not the greatest system.
I'm back.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
But at least they're trying to get the system in there. When you take it away completely, when a paladin can act in any way they want to, then there's no real reason to call him a paladin. At that point, why do you have any limitations at all? Why is there any limitation on what a paladin can do? Why not have a wizard who, if you play D&D, wizards can't cast while they're wearing plate armor. Have a wizard who wields a sword and wears full plate armor and is better than your wizard or than your fighter that's right beside him. Why have any limitations on him at all? They have games like that. Go play that fucking game.
Yeah.
But there's a reason D&D does it. He actually says it's only in there because of nostalgia. No, it's in there because that's how the game is for role playing, the RP in your RPG for role playing that character.
Should we take away the super shotgun from the Doom Marine then?
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's just stripping away identity for the sake of what? it sounds like laziness, if anything.
It's like I said, I don't know if you heard it, but he wants to be able to say he plays D&D without playing D&D.
So
and he says it right there. How do the other tabletop games do it? Go play those.
Yeah, I'm sure there are plenty that are very similar to D&D that don't have an alignment system.
Go tell people you play Warhammer. Then you can get your nerd credit that way.
Yeah, and you can paint the models and everything. Actually, really quickly, I do apologize. I didn't realize people had donated to me. Thank you, Keldrick. I maintain still that college was the biggest waste of money I ever partook in. I could see that. Thank you. And Keldrick again, Captain America punches commies and Nazis because they're ideologically opposed to American values. Does it then follow that Captain Britain punches dentists and Frenchmen?
That's funny.
And gun salesmen, apparently.
Gun salesmen.
Yes, thank you. Tall person as well. Good morning, Alex. Good morning. Happy National Coffee Milkshake Day. That sounds awful.
That sounds gross.
But thank you, though. No, thank you. I'd rather just have a chocolate milkshake, monkey.
Donald says, I'm a nerd and I don't play D&D. I'm a nerd who has played D&D. I played the tabletop, but it was a long time ago. I do play most of the D&D games that come out on computer, including Baldur's Gate 3. I haven't gotten back to it, but I played it when it was first released, back when it was early access, and it only had, I don't know how long the game is, but I think it only had like 4 hours, maybe 3 hours of content. I don't remember how long it was. And it's a fun game, but the idea that, hey, the alignment thing, it's just nostalgia and it's nuance. If you get rid of it, fuck you. No, it's not. No, it's not. You've taken away the nuance because now you can do whatever you want. And that's not what nuance means, fucknut.
What even is a nerd these days, monkey? Or a geek?
It depends on what we're talking about. I think nerds these days are people who watch anime, honestly.
Thank you, monkey. I appreciate the insult there.
No, it's not an insult.
Well,
I don't find the term nerd an insult, honestly.
Jack sounds funny. Yes, he's suffering. He's been watching Peppa Pig too much and now sounds British.
Do you remember that article about that? How parents were mad that kids were sounding British because
yeah. Because while you guys are trying to indoctrinate your children to be like, oh, the trans people are the best people in the whole wide world, we're trying to indoctrinate your children to speak like us.
I wonder, because a big cartoon right now is Bluey. I wonder if they're having a problem with kids sounding Australian.
You know what? Give it a year, and then just type that in. Just search for that cartoon and see what.
Probably,
happens. Yeah.
Bubba says, I'm a proud nerd. So am I. I don't think nerd is a bad thing. And the reason I say anime is the nerddom right now is because while it is gaining a little more mainstream attention.
Oh, certainly. Yeah.
It is still kind of a niche thing. And a lot of the people who get into it live it. I mean, live it.
I would argue that there's no argument for me to make. I would say that explicit manga readers would be probably nerdier if this was a spectrum, monkey, seeing as everything is literally on a spectrum these days. I would probably argue that manga readers or manga supremacists, if you will, would probably be higher on that. I don't know.
Sure.
I'm surely a nerd for being obsessed with factory games.
Oh God, yeah, but I love them too. So, I give anime some shit here because I don't watch it, and it's just funny to watch anime folks get mad. But I respect them the same way I respect any fandom. Enjoy your shit. Don't let anybody try to take it away from you by looking down on it.
I not only have manga, but I also have light novels, and that might make me worse.
Hey, I'm going to be here. Talk with the audience for a second. I'm refilling
Okay.
my drink. I'm still in the same room. I just got to get behind me where the refrigerator is.
That's no drama, guy. Hello, chat. How are you? How's it going? It's been a minute. How are we? And I know people go to weebs, but I strongly disagree there. As weebs is obviously a shortening down of the word weeaboo. Weeaboos, there is a strong definition of what a weeb is, because weebs aren't just into anime. They're not just into manga. They are into Japanese culture in general, and weeaboos they don't have any respect for the culture. You know what I mean? They try to learn Japanese and they do it badly, really, really badly. They have a lot of, they unironically have body pillows for girlfriends, that type of thing. They try to like engage in like Japanese cultural like traditions as well, like the tea ceremony thing. But they do it in a way that is completely and utterly disrespectful of the culture. You know what I mean? It kind of reminds me of that guy. Is it the anime man, the Australian Japanese fella? Didn't he try to interview an ex Yakuza member, and he was so incredibly disrespectful? Tried to speak to him like how you'd imagine any vanilla YouTuber kind of would be. Yo, what's up, bro? Kind of not realizing that he's speaking to a Yakuza member, a gentleman gangster.
A gangster, yeah.
Yeah, you don't speak to people like that in that manner. That's just a really bad fucking idea. But I'm just saying, Monkey, a weeaboo is someone who is obsessed by Japanese culture, not necessarily just by anime.
I still had my headphones on. I have a very long cord on it. I laughed when you said they do it badly.
Yeah, to the point where they're very disrespectful.
Thank you, Donald Camp, who says TNG is great, but DS9 is better. I will 100% disagree with you on that. That's another nerd comment, or yeah, it is.
Well, that's Star Trek, right?
That's Trek, yeah.
Yeah, I used to watch Star Trek as a kid.
I absolutely love TNG. The first 3 seasons are a bit rough, but once you get past that, it's awesome, and the ending was amazing. And then they did the movies, and it was like, what'd you do to my Trek? But yeah, it wasn't bad.
I view the movies as something you watch on a Sunday afternoon. You know what I mean?
Babylon 5 is better than DS9. I know that's an argument. I never watched Babylon 5, so I can't even engage in that argument. But that's another nerd argument. I don't dislike being a nerd. I do dislike people who pretend to be nerds to try to get nerd credit.
Yeah.
And that's not even gatekeeping. If you want to get into it, actually get into it. But
it's laziness, yeah.
It's lame as fuck is what it is. Like that Frost chick. Remember her who went on her rant about how guys don't want to fuck her? And in the context of video games, and she tells us, these are video game reviewers, and she tells us that video games, they don't play them all. Sometimes one will play some of it and somebody will play the other part of it, and then they'll do the review and write it as one. I'm like, well, why would I believe any of you? Because none of you played the whole fucking game. Why? You shouldn't get any credit at all. Your review should say, we didn't actually play this game.
Or the tutorial and couldn't get past the tutorial. We all remember Cuphead.
Yeah, but then they get up there and they act as though they know, oh, I loved that game. You didn't even play the fucking thing. You just want the nerd credit from it for being able to say you beat X game. Cuphead, for example. Play the whole fucking game or shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Like, do you remember how much I used to say I hated Ark?
Yeah.
I had 2,600 hours in it, Monkey. 2,600 friggin' hours later. With Satisfactory, I have over 2,000 hours in that.
Nice.
And with 7 days, as much as I bitch about 7 days, over my 2 Steam accounts, I must have well over 1,000 hours combined, probably a little bit more. As much as I get mad at the fun pimps for, being a contradiction to their very name. They do annoy me, Monkey. The criticism of them is fair, in my opinion. I know that you love 7 days to pieces.
Oh,
Like I do, and I love it for the same reason that you do. The whole base building thing, you know, especially the horde base building thing. You know, I get obsessed with it. You know, I get on YouTube. I start looking for ideas, watching all the YouTube or what's his name, Capu and Glock and all those guys. You know.
By the way, if you want to learn how to build a base, don't watch them. Watch me.
Well, you obviously watch Monkey.
I'm just saying, and I'm not being. Well, I'm being a little cocky here. I build better bases than they do. I'm just a much smaller channel, so nobody knows it.
He doesn't do the whole cheesing thing. He just plays and just for the sake of playing, doesn't he?
Sure.
Whereas those other guys, they tend to do the whole cheesing death corridor style and everything, which, in my opinion, eventually leads to ruining the game for yourself. I mean, I once built a base that was so good, no zombies fell into it. They were dying before they got down there. You know, it's like, oh, what's this? Shit.
No, Monkey, you make fortresses. I do. And you're not wrong about that. One of the reasons that I stop playing when I do, you know, because I take breaks from the game, is I will make the game where I don't have to do shit on Horde Night. I just sit. I had one base, Alex. Seriously, I just sat there and watched the zombies die right in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
And no cheesing.
It was SMG turrets.
No. I had some blade traps. I had a few shotgun turrets that I might or might not turn on, depending on whether I wanted to engage or not. But mostly it was just electric fences and my blade traps.
Yeah. I've done the same thing where I've spent a lot of time making something impenetrable. J Kid described one of my bases as the Simon Says base, because it was like 4 different colors on each block, and each block was a obstacle course. This was a course way back when, Alpha 17, 18, back when you could fuck the zombies up by making them jump in water, you know, just like knee-high water.
Oh yeah.
And you could slow them down and stuff. You know, they would run the gauntlet and then they would run up, get twatted by dart traps, and then they'd fall down a hole into the death pit where we would obviously light them up. Yeah, when that thing became impenetrable, it's just like, well, the best horde base is a horde base that fails, isn't it, really?
Well, the whole point is to get safe. And once you hit that point, I mean, if you really wanted to, and I do want to, I just get bored with it. You could build like really nice castles with actual bedrooms and stuff in it. And you could do that. I just get bored because there's no challenge left to it. Now, I don't know if you played the new Alpha.
I have played Alpha 21. Yeah.
This one's just going to take me longer to get to that point because of getting all the stupid books. You called them
fan of that. Learn by reading.
You said the fun pimps, despite that being contrary. This is one of the things where I think that's absolutely 100% valid. They're trying so hard to make the game just hard.
Oh, I know. I've seen them in interviews. They are literally they don't like people cheesing their game, and that's why every time a new update comes out, they try to make it harder and harder.
Well, they did something this time. I've always used 2 electric fences across my where the zombies would come and I would kill them.
Yeah.
One, I would sink in 1 block, so it would come out about at the zombie's knees. The other one, I would hang upside down, and it would come about chest level.
Yeah.
Well, if you do that now, they moved where the electric fences cross, and it actually won't hit them at all. So instead of doing it that way, you have to turn them sideways and run them sideways across if you want to run 2.
Which is obviously ridiculous.
It is, yeah.
There was one thing that I liked. They introduced a new block type. It's one of the bars. I think it's a security bar. I think it's called, where you could actually use the wiring tool through it.
You can do that with the scaffolding. I don't know.
I know you can do it if you do it with just the cube, the classic cube. I know you can do it with that. The one thing that I'm so mad about and still mad about to this day with 7 days is the wet concrete.
Yeah,
where's the sexy concrete gone?
I don't know. Yeah, I agree with you. I don't like how they changed the upgrading of the blocks either.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. Yeah.
I love a lot of they put a lot of new blocks in there, so you can build really nice stuff, very intricate designs if you want to, and you can see that in a lot of their new POIs. That's points of interest, guys. Those are the pre-built buildings in the game. They did a lot of. I like a lot of the doors. I like that they made it so you can hit through doors if they have holes in them.
Oh, finally, yeah.
But the stuff that they did, where it's like, you can tell they did this because they didn't like that we were using things that they gave us. It's not even cheesing it. The thing I did with the electric fences, that's not cheesing it. It's just
no, it's standard. Just
I buried one and I hung the other from the ceiling. You could actually do that with electric fences. And like, nah, bruh. That's you're stopping the zombies and we want them to kill you. Well,
I don't get the logic, to be honest with you. They spend a lot. Whenever I see their Twitter or I see them in do their live streams or whatever, they are spending a great deal of time adding stuff.
Yeah,
but they shouldn't be adding stuff. They should be optimizing the game.
Well,
really,
with what they just released, what they need to do right now, you're right on optimization, which they have done a lot of that, to be fair to them. But hold us where we are. You got your difficulty. Hold us where we are, and they need to work on the bandits that they want to put in the game, which I still think are stupid.
Yeah.
Work on that and get ready for gold. That's what they should be working on right now.
Yeah, they really need to think about releasing it.
Yep.
Properly, because it has been it's 10 years now, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a long time.
And in fairness to them, they've made a lot of changes. Good changes. But they're getting ready to release it again on the PS5 and whatever the new Xbox is called.
They figured out the whole console thing, didn't they?
Maybe.
That's what I had seen. I know that they had a contract with another development company for console when it fell through and everything, and that actually wasn't their fault. But
no, it wasn't their fault. But they shouldn't have released it to console as a fucking alpha.
Which you don't see that a lot, do you, in the console world?
No,
probably more so these days. Is that I don't really play console. I'd imagine that there's more of it these days.
I don't know if there is or not, but I don't think you release something as retail when it's not ready to go.
Yeah,
you wait till you're gold. So
they do need to get a move on with the game, to be honest with you. And I love the whole difficulty thing, Monkey. If people want a harder experience, they will turn up the difficulty.
Yeah,
there's a lot of options to do that as well, to make it really hard.
And that's what they should have done. If that's what they wanted, then make that the default.
Yeah.
Right now, I can't play on the default because it's too fucking easy. It really is. I get bored as fuck on it.
I've seen a few videos on these mods and stuff. Not just Darkness Falls. There's another one. I forget the name of it.
I know what you're talking about, and I can't think of it. It basically replaced Darkness Falls as the one everybody's doing.
Yeah, that Nerds, Guns, and Steel. He recently did a playthrough of it, and I can't remember the friggin' name of it now.
Somebody in chat, help us out.
It looked crazy.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, because several people have asked me, why don't you play that mod? And I'm not in it for more difficulty.
Is it Undead Legacy or is it?
I think you're right. I think it's Undead Legacy.
I'm just kind of going through the dude's channel. It's either Undead Legacy or it's that other one I saw.
Because Undead Legacy is brutal. I've watched people play that.
Oh, Rebirth was the one I'm referring to, but I have seen Undead Legacy as well.
I haven't seen
both
Rebirth.
of those look brutal to me.
But for me, that I'm not looking necessarily for more difficulty. I think the difficulty is fine with what you can do in game. I don't like a lot of those other ones almost entirely because they just give you too much backpack space.
Yeah, I have seen that. I've noticed that in the videos. I've not played any of them, so I wouldn't really know. But
part of the difficulty of the main game is the resource management. Okay, I can't carry all this shit with me. How am I going to get it all back to base? Maybe you build a stash box.
Yeah.
Maybe you just go, all right, fuck it. I guess I get that later.
Well, inventory management is just standard of any game
Yeah.
that has an inventory, especially these types of games that are,
Yep.
you know, indie.
They do have alphas and betas on console. When they do, it's free on the respective online stores. Really?
That's interesting.
Retro says, I hate limited inventories. I actually like them. I think inventory management it makes a game better. Now, in fairness, it's got to be fair.
Oh,
it can't be like in 7 days, if you could only carry 7 things or 8 things. Nah, that would be too rough.
Yeah.
But we have like what, 32 slots, something like that. And then you'll see some of these mods and it's like 150 slots in your backpack. Like, that's ridiculous.
That would annoy me just purely on the basis of, you know, you go out looting,
Mm-hmm.
you come back, and then you'll be there for ages sorting it.
Oh God, yeah. Retro says, just causes you to run back and forth game padding. You don't necessarily have to run back and forth. You could just decide what you want to keep. A lot of the times when I make inventory boxes, like stash boxes, I never go back to them. Or if I do, it's not because I need what's in there. It's just because it bothers me to have shit sitting around in the world.
Yeah, I get really autistic about
that
as well, inventory stuff. Yeah.
It's like, no, that's my inventory. I got to go grab it. Most of the time I could throw that shit on the ground and it wouldn't change the game at all.
I know that I'm insufferable when it comes to games like that, because I'm the guy that builds the base, that secures the base, and does all the inventory in the base. And don't you dare touch it. Don't you fuck it up. Because I'll tell you.
When me and Satsu would play together, that used to bother me. Luckily, in the last one that I played with him, Random was there, and Random is also anal about that, and he took care of all of it. But yeah, every fucking time I would eventually go in a box and there would be shit that doesn't belong there. I'm like, Satsu, why are you putting shit in my boxes? I would make him a drop box so he didn't have to do it, and he would still do that shit to me.
7 Days needs a mod that Arc has called the well, you know what, Structures Plus. And later in the game, you get access to this big pole thing that you can literally walk into or walk your tame into. And as you do that, it will transfer all the stuff in your inventory to predetermined storage boxes that you have set up. And it's a very nice thing.
I would like it if they would allow us to lock stuff in positions.
Yeah.
Like, and you kind of can't, like on your toolbar, they already do it. If you put a hammer in your number 1 slot, and then for whatever reason that hammer falls out, if you never put anything else back in that number 1 slot, if you pick up a hammer again, it goes there.
Yeah.
So they have the tech to do it, obviously, but I'd like that in the boxes in the base, so that when you hit one of the things that I love that they added is there's 3 choices when you're deciding what to do with your inventory. You can sort it, you can move everything.
Oh yeah, the little button you can add to the stacks. Yeah, that's great.
Add the stuff that's already there, or you can move everything. And when I click the add to what's already there, I would like those to go in very specific spots. And I just wish they'd give us that. But otherwise, just get on and make it gold. Just give us the bandits, or decide you're not going to do that because you guys can't figure it out, which is fine. I don't care about that part.
Oh, God help us if you know how a lot of game devs are doing this thing now where, like, we want to upgrade the game to Unreal Engine 5.
Oh, God, yeah.
And every time I've seen this, right, every game developer I've seen say this do not know how it works, and they don't have people trained to use it.
Yeah. The Unreal 5 engine is nice.
It is. So, you know, I always suck the dick of Coffee Stain Studios for Satisfactory.
Yeah.
They have upgraded Satisfactory to Unreal Engine 5. It's the first time I've ever used it. It's beautiful.
When did they do that? I haven't played Satisfactory in a while.
It's you have to play on the experimental branch
Mm-hmm.
because it's still an experimental. They are still working certain kinks out. But they did it, I think, maybe a month ago.
Oh, nice.
They as a company have been on vacation because they're like Scandinavian, I believe. They're all on vacation at the minute, or they were. So when they come back, they'll be working on the bug fixes to it, and they were hammering the bug fixes, Monkey. The day after the experimental branch came out to update 8, it was an update. The day after, there was another update. It's so beautiful, Monkey. You should see it in Unreal Engine 5. It's gorgeous. I didn't even know I could run Unreal Engine 5 on my card.
There was one of the games that I play just released, and they had pushed it back for the Unreal Engine 5, and it's gorgeous. I just don't remember which game it was. A couple of things in chat I want to get to. Snooch, when we were talking about the alphas and betas over there on consoles, he said some of the alphas and betas are only for people who bought the pre-order. Fair enough. Where's the other one? I said, I really appreciate when games have a mark as junk function. Me too. It's one of my favorite things that they did in Diablo 4. I was asked about Diablo 4 on my game stream the last time I played it, whenever that was. And I like Diablo. Well, I want to like Diablo 4. There's a lot of fun in Diablo 4, but once you get to a certain point, it just gets so repetitive.
I see.
That it's repetitive, and the leveling is so slow. And anytime somebody finds out a way to level a little bit faster, like redoing the first half of this dungeon is the best way to get XP, they'll nerf it to make it even worse.
Yeah.
Shits. Once you hit level 50, the game just comes to a fucking crawl. And the max level is 100. And what they did is, in order to extend the game life, that's what they did. They made it so it's just so goddamn slow.
Oh, when will game developers realize that's not how you extend the life? Oh, just more content, dude. Just more things to do. Right, more features, right? That's.
Dark Resurrect says, I'm doing season 1. They just released season 1 on Diablo. And I just can't. The repetition and lack of power fantasy is killing me. Yes. They also, in Diablo 4, they made it so the monsters level with you, which, by the way, Oblivion, you guys are the ones, Bethesda, you were the fuckers that made this popular, and I fucking hate you for it. Because it has ruined so many games. And it is part of the problem in Diablo 4 is that you never feel powerful, because you can get overwhelmed at any point.
Didn't the bosses in Final Fantasy VIII do that?
They might have. I didn't play it.
I did play it, but honestly, it's been that long, I can't remember.
Nightmare asked me, is it true you have to start over with rep or whatever? Like you have to do all of the statues all over? No.
I was right. Thank you, chat.
If you play on your stable, I forget what they call it. Your main character. You play on your main character and you get all of your Lilith statues. You open up the entire map. You get all your rep high. When you go over to season 1 and you make your first character there, all of that shit will be open except for the rep. The rep maxes out, I think, at 2.5 for any group. So if you had it maxed for somebody, then when you go to the season, it'll be at 2.5 instead of full. But everything else, all your Lilith statues and all of your map fog of war will be gone. But man, it's just, I want to like it, Alex. I really do.
I get that. Like it. I understand that with games, mate, where I spent the money on it. I want to like it, but my God, the game's hard work.
Retro got me one. What is it? Is it Occupy Mars? Is that the name of it? Like it's kind of a building game.
I think I know what you're referring to. In fact, I may actually have that. Is it Surviving Mars?
Is it Surviving Mars? No, it is the Occupy Mars one. I want to like it, but it's just rough right now.
Yeah.
They have a lot of work to do on it. And I just going through the tutorial, like, wow, fuck. Every fucking moment. Fuck.
It's the same with me in Sons of the Forest.
Oh, God.
I played it all the way through when it came out, played it all the way through to the end. I tried to go back to it recently, and there is just not enough. There's not enough there.
I agree.
The grind is too much. It really is, for the lack of content. It really is.
The early access curse, you never know. No, I understand, Retro. I like early access games because you do get to see sometimes the progression of what the game used to be. And when the developers do it right, it's glorious. You know, when they do it wrong, it's wow.
Yeah.
But no, there's a lot of great games out there, and man, there's so many I want to play on my game channel. I wish I had better internet. My restriction right now is how much I can play each month before it hits this wall that really just makes my internet suck worse than you could imagine.
Yeah.
But otherwise, there's tons of games I'd be playing right now. Sniper 5 went on sale yesterday. And even though I'm not spending any money, it was only $16. Elite Sniper 5. Me and Satsu had played Elite Sniper 4, and it was just so much fun. And I was like, okay, I'll spend $16. So I spent $17 actually. And I would love to play it on stream. I can't justify it based on what people enjoy watching.
Yeah.
So Baldur's Gate 3 playthrough, I may be doing that soon. I might, because I do have Baldur's Gate 3, as I said, and there wasn't that much that you could play. Starfield. I will play Starfield when it comes out. I just can't afford the game now. I would love to pre-order. I just can't.
There are games on my Steam wish list that I can't afford. And I was really iffy, man. I repurchased for the second time. That's a gas station simulator, because you know me. I like the dad games.
I want to love that game, but that's another one.
Yeah. I wanted to love it. I did. I just was like, right, no, I can't. It's still choppy as all hell for me. Don't know why. You know, my rig is powerful enough to handle that shit. So I refunded it, and with the refund money, I bought Infraspace, which I only have like an hour in at the minute, so I need to come back to that. But I want Tectonica.
I'm in the same boat as you. I want to love D4, but the devs are making it hard. Yeah, they really are. They really are. Is it true YouTube won't let you stream Red Dead anymore? Not that I'm aware of. But
is
I
that
haven't
reference. Do you remember that big drama with that lad who used to do the no commentary gaming Let's Plays, and he used to do the Red Dead?
No idea. Let me tell you this: if you do a no commentary playthrough, I won't watch your shit. But I'm not sure. I find that boring as fuck. I don't want to just watch the game. I like to hear what people are thinking, and that's why I watch stuff. But I'm not sure, Alex. I haven't heard anything about this.
Okay. I was just pretty much asking that person in the chat. But Monkey, I would love to stay a little bit longer, but I must go, my friend.
Dude, it's almost 3 hours. I must go.
It is 2 hours and 45 minutes nearly.
Yeah.
I got to go myself, mate. I've got to think about taking the little one home and getting myself sorted as well. But thank you very much as always, Monkey, for having me on.
Dude, thanks for joining.
Not a problem. Anytime, dude. Anytime.
Before you go, anything you want to show?
There's nothing really at the minute. I suppose you could go subscribe to me. I might stream today. I don't know. It depends. The heat's kicking my ass again. But if you want to subscribe to me, there it is. It's in the chat. Thank you so much, Monkey. And of course, thank you to those who threw a little bit of cash my way as well. That's very much appreciated. And thank you, Monkey, for letting me put the link in the chat.
Oh, shit. Least I could do. You should have been spamming it the whole time.
Oh no, you know me, dude. I just want you to earn the money. I
appreciate that.
Yeah,
I want me to earn the money too.
More video games.
That's absolutely true. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Monkey, as always. And
I love you, bro. You take care of yourself.
I love you too, dude. And thank you for tolerating me. And I will see you guys soon. Peace.
See you, bud.
Bye bye.
Yeah, I love that man. Me and him, we go back. In internet years, we've been friends since the beginning. Honestly, make sure you sub to Bear. I am gonna go play a video game. I think. Unfortunately, it's daytime, so chances are my internet's gonna be shit. And I don't know why that happens. I'm not over my limits or anything, but yeah, they've been dicks about that lately. So hopefully it'll work out. Probably going to be playing some 7 days, but somebody asked about the Baldur's Gate 3. I was looking at the channel before I came back to it, and one of my most viewed videos for the month right before I came back was my first Baldur's Gate playthrough, which is like 2 years old. So yeah, Baldur's Gate, one, it's a newer game that it's just coming to release or just did release in full. But I'm a D&D nerd. That's why we talked about the D&D thing. And the original Baldur's Gate and Baldur's Gate 2 were a lot of fun. I never finished Baldur's Gate 2. But I really wish that they would bring, or that they do like a new Icewind Dale, because that's my favorite of those series from back then. Icewind Dale 2 is my favorite of all those games. So, yeah, we'll probably get a Baldur's Gate. Plus, the Baldur's Gate thumbnail is one of my favorite I've ever made. It's very simplistic, and we'll just be using that again. The full release is August 3rd. Gotcha. Thank you guys for hanging out. Sorry this one was so morning focused. I really did want to do this about 8 p.m. last night, but about 7, my spine was like, bro, you need to go lay down. And then I slept very well. How do you feel about Minsk coming back in Baldur's Gate 3? I don't know any of the story. What are we talking? Who's Minsk? If that's a character from one of the first two, I'm going to let you know. I don't remember much about the first two games. I remember the beginning of Baldur's Gate 2. And when I say I don't remember anything about the first two games, the last time I played Baldur's Gate, the original one, was maybe a year ago. So it should be much fresher in my head, but it's just not, because shit pops right out. Thank you guys for joining me. Thank you for the donations. You guys are so kind. I really do appreciate that. And you help keep me going here. Hopefully tonight we'll be back around 8 o'clock. 8 to 9 is when I'm hoping to do these shows. And, I was talking to Jack about that. And like, I have to be able to keep the schedule. And then things like last night happened. I don't know how to get around that. So when they're not at that time, they'll be whenever the hell I wake up. I slept well last night, guys, which I haven't done in a while, because my legs feel so much better. Oh God, that was pissing me off. But I slept very well. Slept from about 7 till about 4 in the morning. I'm like, God damn. Apparently this is when I need to go to sleep. But I'm very rested and ready to go. So I think we're going to do a game stream. We're going to play some, probably 7 days. We'll be doing 7 days. Man, there's so many games I want to play. I was looking at Medieval Dynasty. They're getting ready to release their co-op game soon. Same Medieval Dynasty, but co-op. They introduced the female character yesterday. Or maybe the day before. I saw it yesterday. So many games I want to play. So many fucking games. But I have shitty internet. I need somebody powerful to reach out to my cable company. The cable company will not bring cable down my road. If they would, this wouldn't be a problem. I would fucking play video games all day long. I'd be one of those idiots. But we'd switch between different things. Trying to find that story about Red Dead. They were saying it's a hate crime to feed certain NPCs to gators. Somebody mentioned earlier the suffragettes. I'm guessing that's what it is. I haven't seen that it's been banned from YouTube or banned from playing going forward. My videos are still fine on it. I have a full playthrough on my game channel. I think I have basically 2 full playthroughs, because I think I moved all of the ones that I did on Twitch over as well. So I don't know. I'll have to look into it. If you find it and you're on Twitter, send me a DM. What else was I going to say? Oh, that's it. I'm going to be over on Ranting Monkey Games right here on YouTube in just a little bit, playing some 7 Days to Die. Come hang out. Tell your friends, your family that bitch you hate. Get them watching because it's always a fun time. Thank you for everything, guys. I love you. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see y'all next time. I don't know what to sing about today, so I have a video game I'm going to play. Some of this song is a little gay, but I think it'll be okay.